So we're recording the restoration of rights Zoom. We've got a relatively new minister of event who's come on, who's gone and done some amazing, coming back with an amazing take on this without any hand holding or anything like that. And that's what it is. There's the water, go and jump in. This MFN has done that. And now it's come back with some questions. So we're recording this in order for it to help as many people as possible, with a cult of helping as many people as possible tonight. So would you want to hit me with your questions, and we can throw it open to the other MFNs as well, and let them give you first-hand feedback of what they've done.
Yeah, thank you. I've got quite a lot of questions, I'm afraid.
So no problem.
I'll start with the first one, which was actually the freshest question in my mind. And I was thinking about this mostly when I was driving back this evening, and I was down Pembrokeshire there, and the car park where I was parking the vehicle is a National Trust car park. So I was thinking in my mind, because, correct me if I'm wrong, I understand that once or ULC is now the secured party creditor to the government, and the government was supposed to pay the debts, the money which they were borrowing to, do all these things they've been doing for the last, I don't know how far back it goes, but they didn't pay those debts. So we're now a secured party creditor. So does that mean that everything which the government thinks is theirs is actually ours?
It always has been. It always is yours. The rights of the resources and the share of this planet has always been yours. We were acting as unsecured creditors of this private corporation known as Crown Corporation by assigning our consent to grant our share to the legal fiction. Now, because we didn't know what we were doing, we had no shout on the collateral. What was the collateral? Ourselves. We were giving away ourselves and everything that we don't even know what we are, and everything that we don't even know what we've got the ability of the right of use of, and the unknowingly. So if you think about bankruptcy, for example, you'll see in the Insolvency Act that they've written that the unsecured creditor gets the shout on the last bits of what's left after a company's been liquidated.
Yeah.
And all of it, obviously. So first of all, there's the company, it's gone bankrupt. The first bite of the collateral is, on paper, the secured creditor. Mm-hmm. So let's say the guy has opened a business, he's taken out a business loan, he's used his property as collateral. The bank is the secured party creditor in the business then. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, that's what we all think, don't we? That the bank is the secured creditor in that instance. Let's go further down the chain now. So in the pecking order, we've got, let's say, council tax, or we've got an outstanding credit card payment that the company's director owed. They're unsecured. There was no securitization of any collateral. It was the credit file had been opened based on the credit score, and it was a gamble whether they were going to get it back or not, because they didn't really need to have any of it back at all, because it wasn't theirs in the first place, is the point that I'm getting to. So the problem is that any business, let's say I'm going to go and create a business now. What am I doing? First of all, I'm using legal fiction, aren't I, to go and create a business with? So I'm taking something that was this legal fiction has got unlimited liabilities. It means there are exponentially available charges to be able to be attached to that legal fiction. Why? Because it's copyrighted by the creator of debts and charges and fiction. Which is now when you come along and you say, right, I'm going to create a business. I've got a great idea. I'm going to do this. And what do I do immediately? I go, oh, that's my idea. I'm going to copyright it. I'm going to patent it. The patent office turns around and says, what's your legal fiction name? What did you just do? You just put your intellectual property behind a legal fiction that's not yours. Now you've got to buy the rights back, the privilege to even be able to use your own mind. So this is very simple. When we say about being a secured party, and because of what Universal Law Community Trust did, it's not that. A group of people who were taught this system of commerce inside out, back to front, had enough of crediting it, and said, because I realized what it is that's going on with my share of these rights and the resources, I'm not okay with that. You know, if this is done in that name, then I'm using that name to put what it is I am behind. Now what I've become immediately, whether I'm part of ULC or not, I'm a secured party to my mind, to my copyright, to my intellectual capacity, my potential worth in a hypothetical corporate system, and I've secured it away from there. On paper, it looks like in their system, the UCC1, secured party creditor, or a standing charge on a property in the land registry by a council, corporate state. Now, they can only do that. They can only put those charges on that legal fiction if you say that is yours. So such a simple step to do, I'm changing from becoming an unsecured party creditor of this private corporation. I am assigning my all of that they were existing off into my own trust, and I am now a secured party creditor to it. If I'm still using legal fiction, I'm doing it with all my rights reserved, let's say. I'm still using the legal fiction, and so I'm using that legal fiction. So I'm saying I'm a secured party creditor. I went on to UCC1 and I did a filing and I secured the legal fiction name. What you just did there is you claimed something that wasn't yours. First of all, you need something that isn't theirs in order for them to be able to turn around and say they cannot initiate their system against you, because they can only initiate their system against you if you have committed a fraud on your soul. And you commit the fraud upon your soul by signing away your rights. Okay, what if I don't do that? What if I got organised and all of my stock shares, bonds, whatever it was that my birth certificate was supposed to imply to Crown Corporation, what if all of that was somewhere else? Can they get it? Turns out no, they can't. So what are you now? I'm a secured party creditor of Universal Law instead of being an unsecured creditor of Crown Corporation. I'm yet to meet a secured party creditor of Universal Law who continues to credit Crown Corporation, because we all still use their slave tokens. And until that's why kindness credits is so important, because it doesn't matter what it is you say or do. If you are just that exchange of that energy, even if nobody else is interested, they don't care, they don't want to know, just give me the money. Okay, I'm keeping this is for me, I'm doing this for me. I'm not doing it for me, I'm doing this for Minister and Reverend. I'm doing this to keep my soul clean. What you do with that and what you force me into, what you tie your shackles to, is up to you. But I am going through the process in every single transaction exchange with a rock and a piece of paper. You want 10 slave tokens? Okay, knock the tax off. I don't want a receipt. Okay, it's 8. Okay, so here you go. There's 1 rock. I know I said it was £8, €8. Okay, well, that's what £8 looks like in my country. What? Yeah, where I come from, we use rocks. Okay, well, but you don't know how to use them, do you? So I don't want to give you that rock and cause you a liability. So I was going to do money exchange. You want euros, right? Give me the rock back, give you €8. I write you an apodixia receipt, whatever that was, 1 kilo of oil, whatever, 1 kindness credit. Well, it's not kindness credit. I've got £8. I've got €8 in my hand. Yeah, but it's tax free. That's why it's kindness credits, because you just cut out the middleman just by doing that. What do you mean? I've got to go and pay my tax on that thing that I know you don't. Go and give your accountant that piece of paper. And we had a very funny reply back from somebody's accountant this week when we went in and put Minister and Van as a significant party in their business to it. So it's exactly the same process. You're assigning the liability first to a legal fiction that they haven't got the jurisdiction of, and then what you do after that is up to you. That is your responsibility to go and determine, right, okay, so I've put the electricity into Minister and Ven, that liability now, anything to do with that account goes to Minister and Ven, and I'm going to change my meter, or I'm going to use the money that I've saved, buy myself a solar panel, heating unit, whatever it is, or I'm going to live without electricity, thanks, and be true to my word that I don't want anything from this grid. And I'm only going to come back here and use this so that I can stand in the portal of Platanos Cave and block the exit and to try to encourage some more of you out by coming into this at this level. So it's down to you then to determine the administrative system then either exists for you or it doesn't. What you do, the steps you take in order for you to be able to experience this freedom from that system only exists according to the steps that you take. If I go and I say, right, okay, well, I've saved all of this money over the years, I'm going to get me back in, get a tax rebate for all of the receipts that I've got because I don't have a contract with this corporation, claim it back. I'm still making the money. I'm still making them money. I'm still saying that you've got something of mine and I want it back. You haven't got anything of mine. You never had anything of mine, really. It was a figment of my imagination. And now we've even got a piece of paper for those that still believe it to say what it says on there, that that which is imagined and has no conceivability to it, has got no grounds to incarcerate us with. So in this instance, it's COVID. So obviously they've turned around and said that COVID is misconceived claim to make, but they ignore the fact that it was them that were claiming it. Now, we knew that either way that they do this, if they stand there and say that the things that you're doing is illegal, and then, okay, lock me up and see what happens. And that's what all of these people in here tonight have done. They've gone to that and said, right, okay, if this is true, I've faced and confronted what it is that I have been taught to believe is true, and that you're a policeman and you're upholding the law while I watch you break it, while I watch you steal my neighbour's rights, or while I watch you aid and abet these private corporations steal my communities' access to their resources and right of use of their equity. So when you start to really redefine what these words mean, you'll find that when we say, okay, because Universal Law Community Trust is secured party creditor, it's all ours. It already was yours. You just kept peacefully surrendering it to a legal fiction that belongs to someone else. So all of that land, or that you've been parked in there. The whole of this rock is what has been used to stack up the hypothesis of legal fiction and capitalism on our rights. And it's that which we either have secured or not. If we continue to support it, doesn't matter what else we do. That's why the thing with the kindness credits is so important. So the feedback that we got from this accountant, he was like, oh, if you dissolve yourselves, all of your equity is going to go back to the Vatican. Okay, let that ride as it is. You can't educate these people because they're so indoctrinated with their own bullshit that they're never going to accept that they have been single-handedly responsible for farming you as your friend into a slavery system to support terrorism with your tax through. They're never going to admit that. So yes, you're right. Okay, that's true in your world. That's Bonavicanta. That if I didn't assign, if I didn't already have a secured party creditor standing with the first bite of the apple of my collateral, which was universal law community trust anyway, plus the fact that I've always done the assignment of consent of my legal fiction and all of the asset that equity was implied to be credited with my assignment of consent, then yes, it might be a problem. But even at that point, as a legal fiction, everything that I create is going to be born for cancer anyway. So in one way, he was correct that all of the equity would disappear to Bonaventure. But if it's held in a legal fiction that belongs to them anyway, or implied to be granted to them, it's Bonaventure, whatever you do, because of fee simple. It's never been yours. It's always been yours, but it's in their system. You have been the tenant in your own life. You've been granting away your rights to buying back the privilege, like I said before, and paying rent for it. You're not paying rent to a landlord. You're paying rent to the warlord, if you like, for the occupation of rights that somebody somewhere determined that they could write them down and give them to you, and then take them off you, and then say, well, because you're standing on this bit of the rock, that right that you've got over there doesn't exist anymore, or because you haven't paid your tax, we're using a legal fiction to exercise your rights through, then I'm going to remove you of your rights. So hang on a minute, I haven't granted my rights away to anybody. We've seen this in the courts here, when we've actually gone in and said that they've assigned their rights to me, and which means that you haven't got them. So how can you minister them? Why didn't you tell us this before? Well, we did, with an assignment of consent. Get him out of here. Why? Because he hasn't granted these rights away. A system that only exists in order to persecute you for doing that thing, which is against universal law. So you are actually paying tax. Everybody's paying tax for breaking universal law. So it doesn't matter if it goes as Bonaventure. If they liquidate themselves tomorrow, if they dissolve themselves tomorrow, if all of those companies which are disappearing out of the company's house all disappear, it's the minds of the people that count. It doesn't matter what it says, and this is what they've got us doing. So they've getting back to what we were talking about before, is we are creating all of it. We're creating the pain in our face, we're creating the pain in our lives, we're creating the pain in our communities because of the programming that we are saying is something else is projecting onto us. It's not. It's us projecting it onto ourselves, to screaming at us, to say, is it not enough yet? Is the fact that you cannot leave the country yet, based on your hypotheses, yet? Has any of you actually gone to the borders and said, hello, I'm just getting out of here? And they say, no, you can't. They say, why not? They say, because you haven't had a coronavirus test. Are you telling me that I cannot leave this country because of COVID if I don't persecute myself, or if I don't grant my DNA away. Are you going to stand there and say that when I've got this piece of paper from Justice Stein, your chief ladyship of the smashed up ship Crown Corporation, sunk to the bottom of the ocean? That one? Are you going to stand there and go, because if you do, you've got contempt of court. If you go against this order, it's contempt of court, and it matters to you. Doesn't matter to us, obviously, because they don't know who we are, so they can't lay a charge against us. And she even said that. But it matters to you. I am exercising my rights to travel freely and leave this prison, non-geographical state, prison England, and you're telling me that I can't leave because of COVID. Is that right? Just speak up for the camera. That's the next step for this. En masse, everybody in the country, go to the borders, book your ticket, use your Minister of Event, just go to the ports and present this as an exemplification of your comprehension of your universal rights, that you don't even know most of them, of what we've got and what you've got the right of use of, because you don't even know what you are. None of us do. And go and exercise your right to travel freely and have them be in contempt of their own court. This is how you bring their system down, because it is only being upheld by those, let's say, minions in the line of fire at street level. Poor guy standing there, just doing my job, like the girl we had on the phone the other day. I'm just doing my job. I'm just doing my job. But your job is to aid and abet criminals. I'm just doing my job. It's no longer an excuse. There is another job you can do. Did you know there was another job you could do? Why are you doing this job? If you say you're just doing this job, why are you doing this job? Well, to pay my mortgage, to pay my rent, to pay my children's school fees. Do you know what? There's another job you can do. It only takes you 5 hours a week, and you get all of those liabilities discharged. What was that then? You can go and uphold the rights of the people. 5 hours a week, put it in the pot, get out of my way. Oh no, I'll lose my job. You haven't got a job. Why haven't you got a job? I'll tell you why you haven't got a job, because I'm your secure party creditor and I just sacked you. Which is another one that I've used on the Talonia on the customs here.
You know, before I came and found the ULC, I thought I was relatively unplugged. I've kind of been on this path, whatever you want to call it, for quite a while, and I realized actually exactly what you just said. It's just a belief in your mind, but it's so powerful. And I've just been kind of grappling with that a little bit for the last 2 or 3 weeks there. But it's really obvious when you go and speak to somebody else and you start introducing this concept to them for the first time, and just the instant, no, you can't do that. I have to pay my taxes. It's for the benefit, and you say, well, yeah, and they're using those taxes to kill people, or, poison your food or whatever. And yeah, it's
define benefit is the question. If you call that a benefit, if you call supporting criminals and terrorism to fund corporations a benefit, so that you're locked inside your house in category D prison conditions, being threatened that you can't leave the corporate state if you don't go and vaccinate yourself with God knows what by God knows who, then I would really go and have my mind washed with something else. Because the word benefit, look what we've been taught. This is a benefit. You get a benefit from your government. That's why you want a government, don't you guys? You want benefit.
Yeah.
Let's stop right there. The word benefit. In order for me to get a benefit, I have to be a beneficiary of something.
Yeah.
Where is my trust? That's it. So anybody who comes up with those objections to you, that you obviously, yeah, you're absolutely right. We should pay tax. We call it a tithe, and we tithe our energy to one another. It's without any valuation as far as slave token goes, which means that you're never feeling empty. You only start to feel empty when it's you yourself who hasn't bothered to recharge your charges, to discharge those charges that say that you've taken from another, carried for a while, and discharged them. And that's the only time that you feel, annoyed or frustrated, or all of the negativity of anything that we do. Even helping people can take you to that point, and it's actually your debt to yourself, because you haven't given yourself that, you haven't gone and met your own mind for a while. And so we were just talking before you came in, I've gone AWOL for 2 days, because so when you're talking about feeling like you're unplugged and battling with this mind, it never stops. And you see the amount of pain that we have to endure, or the amount of pain that we actually have to create for ourselves, because like you just said, it's such a powerful thing. That's your mind you're talking about. It's being such a powerful thing. It's not the thought that is a powerful thing, or even the belief that is the powerful thing. It's the conviction and the credit, the compounding of the mind that is the powerful thing. So right, okay, take away all of those things. It's not all of it. It's mine. It's yours. And if it's yours, then nobody else is responsible for it. And so if it's yours, you can control it. So if it's yours, instead of saying it's not mine, it's not my problem, it's not my responsibility, it's not my liability, I give my 23% to the government each year, and that's it, I'm going to sit on the beach with my conscience covered. Well, actually, your conscience is not covered. The rest of your conscience is suffering from sunstroke. The amount of uncovering that it's got from us paying 23% or 17% or whatever it is, to conveniently persecute one another and capitalize on each other. So what am I paying my tax for? Okay, I agree. Do you have to pay tax? Do you have to contribute to our community? But I definitely don't need to contribute to Halliburton, and I definitely don't need to contribute to bombs, weapons, war, terrorism in my serving my community. I can go quite freely down the hill, paint a load of buildings, and open it up and let the children come and exercise their rights to use their resources freely. I don't need to go and get a piece of paper permission from somewhere and say, is it all right if I do this thing? I want to be nice and kind. No, really sorry, I can't do anything nice and kind in this community. Well, why not? Because we need to see, we need a bite of your apple. We need a bite of your creation. You can't come in here and help all of those people to be free of us. You think we're going to facilitate that? You think we're going to give you a license for that? Anyway, well, I would be an idiot, but I would be an idiot for coming and asking. But and sometimes I need to come and ask and say, am I just, want to just make sure that I'm an idiot for believing that you might want to help the people in our community? I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't kidding myself any further, that you wanted to remedy this matter of persecution for profit upon the people. Or we make you an offer of remedy and you give us actual remedy for the very first time. The administrative system, because we ministered it, we knew that we were going to get arrested. Of course we did. We knew that there was going to be some jail time. Of course we did. But we also knew that we weren't free. So what was the jail time from? Was it from my freedom? I didn't have any freedom to start with, so who am I kidding? The only person that I'm kidding at this point is myself, that I'm free. And that the big scary man sitting behind the desk in the court can tell me I've got to go to prison. Well, I'm already in prison. Thank you very much. So, just the food's even worse than it is outside. Not that there's even much when you look at what people are eating anyway before they even go and do these things. So what is it that I've lost? For my Wi-Fi? And I can even have that. I can even have emails, and I can have telephone calls. And if I'm a good little debt slave and I've used the legal fiction, put me on the enhanced version and get a colour TV and a hot drink in my room. Way. It's more than I've got on the outside for a lot of people. And that's how terrible it is that these people who are in prison, who say that it's easier for them to be in prison than it is for them to exist in the outside. Well, shame on the rest of us. Shame on us that we created an environment, a community, surroundings where people get better treated in prison. And that's why we have to stop supporting that. That's where our tax goes. So if anybody wants to say about, we should pay tax, that it really is, and show them where it goes. It goes to Halliburton through Credit Suisse. It doesn't come into the roads, into the infrastructure of our communities, into creating organic food production, does it? If it did, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be doing this. If it did. And so it should. Anything else is not acceptable. If you are taking or funding or crediting a terrorist corporation, then you are fucking criminal. That's it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that, actually.
And they need it hammering home. So these self-righteous, what do you call them, like, with the I can't even describe them because I haven't seen one for a while. I've seen everybody for a while. I've forgotten what they're all like. It's wonderful. Restored by rights to free from insignificant things that would normally cause me pain has been the lesson that I've had this weekend, courtesy of the universe. And but the people who are pompous, the pomp and ceremony, that hierarchy system, the people who have imposed that pomp and ceremony and pompous mindset are sitting at the top of that pyramid, and these half-wits who are stacking it up in the middle thick section of the 33rd degree and under are they're we have to do these things because it's the right thing to do. Okay, is it really? If you knew what was going on with your credit, if you knew that you were the grantor and the investor and the creditor of every single terrible thing that ever happened in this world, would you continue to do it?
Yeah.
And so
it's getting out of control as well. The things that it's going too far.
Because we're letting it. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
How far it needs to go, it is exactly how far it needs to go. It's not, I've been learning this myself over these last kind of few days. I've been battling, and I don't mind recording this, I've been battling with, do we bother any longer carrying forward this process? There is a process of an appeal to where we appeal the habeas corpus. Is there any point in me doing any other paperwork? And I'm answering my own question at this point. As yet, until I see the paperwork that we've already got, and the apodixes, the receipts and the evidence that everybody's been given for free to use themselves in any way that they need to in this universal picture presents, let's say, there's no point in me going and doing anymore. Because it's the bits that we've, like, got an event, and got his warranty card, and he's been with us for quite a few months. There's no point. There's no point in me going and putting my energy into creating another piece of paper if none of you are going to use it. Nobody's going to go and practice what it is that you've already got. So that's why we were so lucky to get the people who went this far to do the restoration of rights, because this was what was needed in your country, was first-hand paperwork that's stamped by things that you normally recognize as being legit, and the words that they've put upon them and the words that they've stated, the acknowledgement of service, all of the things that we have said about using Ministram Venk is a quiet title. It cannot be used to make a claim. She said that. Who made the claim? I did. Well, you can't make the claim. Thank you very much. Can't make the claim. And if I can't make the claim, you can't claim against me, right? That's it. I cannot make a claim as Minister of Event, and you cannot, Minister of Event cannot be used for making claims. Thank you. And now here we've got a private corporation trying to use it. Now we've got something to consider over here. We've got the one part of the structure of the system denying itself. What did I say to everybody? You have to get them standing there, looking at themselves in the mirror as you are standing there, exemplifying what it is an organization can do, can't we? Using UCC, civil code procedure, debt equity swaps, mercantile law, ecclesiastical law. Isn't this what you did? We need them to say, you can't do that. Thank you very much. We'll see you at the beach. Because they just destroyed themselves. That's it. They destroyed their own belief. All right, we've got 1133. Let's have a look here. We're just recording 1133, and we had 369 in as well while we were babbling away there. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Not bad, thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
Nice to hear you.
Yeah, and you?
1133, you there as well.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, love. How are you?
I'm not too bad, not too bad.
Good. We're just recording because we've got a relatively, he was new to us, but he's grasped this so well. He's just asking a few questions. We've got to one question so far, gone on for about an hour.
Okay.
So about the National Trust, and so it's just the answer to the question. It's just a legal fiction. All legal fictions are secured. The people need to restore their rights, to exercise their rights freely, and protect that what it is. Protect that land that trust is supposedly protecting and selling to Nestle the water supply of the Lake District, for example. They haven't got any standing when you retire from crediting their system, because like we were talking about with a few weeks ago about going on the trains. What they've done now, some people have gone to exemplify on the trains, and they've got some big clumpers there waiting. You arrest them. You make them call the police that this individual is working for a corporation and they are trying to imply that I need to pay for the right of use of my aluminium share that created this train, my share of the diesel creates the electricity, the share of the rock that the rails go across, and prove it otherwise. Prove that this corporate agency is not using my shares in order for it to exist, because that is the truth. And so here you are, Mr. Agent Smith, let's say, trying now, what you're going to do, you're going to physically assault me and put me off the train. Are you coming with me? I'm arresting you. Now we know that, I mean, people who think that are really special, let's say, what do we do with them? Well, we're going to take them. Okay, well, they're going to take you, aren't they? They are going to take you where you need to go. And they're going to say that you broke some administrative code, act, statute, whatever. And you'll pull your minister of an ID card out. They're going to go, oh, shit, not one of them.
Again.
Not another one of them. There's 22,000,001. I'm throwing this out to everybody now. Everybody contacting us and saying, how can we help? What can we do? There is a psychotic infection going on in the minds of the people at the moment who are responsible for the upholding of the law. They seem to think that the legal administrative code can be used in place of the law. We are responsible for smashing that belief to the curb. How do we do that? We go to the port, get every single person in this country, 17 million of you, I think, create a habeas corpus, call yourself Emma Venn and file it. Take your ID to the port and expect to be let out where as a foot passenger on the boat. Put all of your, let's say, family and business affairs, private affairs in order for up to 28 days. And you will also have an exemplification and an apodixy, a receipt. You don't have to go through these processes that these guys have trailblazed a trail through this for you. All you guys have got to do is print off the sodding order and go to the customs and go to the port, what do you call them, the border patrol, and say, I'm going through. I'm Minister Emma, you can't recognise me, and I'm going through. I'm not obliged to perform your COVID tests in order for me to exercise my rights, because here I've got a document that says that it's misconceived as grounds to lay claim to lawfully incarcerate me. How, we've got these people who want to create a way to travel and jump through these hoops and operate within the remit of the system that's already there. No, you smash that down. The system of hypothesis, of terrorism, of corporate greed. We're not looking at as a way of fitting in there. We're looking at a way of destroying it completely from the top to the bottom and the inside out. And this is how you do it, because like we were just talking about, it is your mind.
Can I just ask something on that specific thing there? So if we was to play that out as a scenario, so I book my ticket, I'm going somewhere, I go there, I pull out my Minister Emma Venn ID, immunity records, and of course they scratching their head, and after a while they come back and they say no.
On what grounds and whose order? Who am I putting in front of justice time for contempt of court?
So would that then, because these people that are upholding this system,
Let me give you a scenario. I want to exemplify this. This is what I would do if I was in your country. This is what I've done here in the country that I reside in. Right?
Yeah.
I went and I bought a ticket for travel, for just on foot, so that I'm not taking my child with me. I'm not going to put my conveyance at risk or anything like that. I wanted to see, does this work? And instead of us sitting here and hypothetically saying, well, they're going to do this and they're going to say that, I went and did it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying to you. Go and do it and then tell me what it is that they say.
Okay.
Because if you hypothesize it, your mind has already created it, and either you'll talk yourself out of it or you'll go and you'll actually see what it was that you believed, so that you can turn around and say, well, I was right about this, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
So this is what we're talking about, ministering your mind. We're not talking about, I've got a piece of paper and it's from a system that I've got no credit in, I have no merit, and I'm misconceived. I love that word she used there. I'm not even birthed into your system. They cannot conceive me, inconceivable. The coronavirus, inconceivable. So now what do I want to do? I didn't need a piece of paper from her to do this, but obviously whatever it takes, guys, as I said, they will create the scenarios of whatever it takes in order for you to break down and confront the beliefs that you've got. At the point where you are ready with the knowledge that you've got is the day that you will go and you will say, I'm here to book a ticket. Now, start to do it start to do it. I mean, now they've turned to trying to turn you into a little, what do you call them, like terrorist hotspots, like segregated communities and apartheid. So, you know, if you go from London to Dorset, you won't be able to go back again, so that they can look for another reason to really vaccinate you. They realise that everybody in England is going to say, jog on, then I'm not leaving the country. And so now they're saying, right, okay, well, if you go across county borders, and they did that here as well, it didn't stop us. They said that we weren't able to travel between the mainland to the islands. We did that. They said you weren't able to travel if you didn't have a mask on. Absolutely, under no circumstances am I going to suffocate myself. And this is without my robes on. Gave them the ticket, and he said, please, Mrs., please take the mask. And I took it, I had it in my hands, and I went upstairs, and I'm sat there and I'm like, I can't do this. I'm committing fraud on myself. I had to get off the boat, throw a mask at them, scream and shout at them, tell them that I'll be back in 10 days. And in that time, put the company on notice that I was going to prosecute them for discrimination. And anyway, they changed my ticket and gave me a full refund and reissued the ticket. And I went on there with my antidote spray and my certificate, and I got dressed up for the occasion, because that's what helps. If they, you know, they're bowing and scraping and kissing your hand, dear, when they see you walking around in your robes with your afternoon omega on your chest.
Yeah.
That's their belief. That's their mindset.
Yeah. I like those robes. They're nice. I like them.
It is quite funny when you put it on now, because it's like Mr. Ben. Mr. Ben. Put that on. It's like things happen then. Oh God, I've put my robes on now. I find myself using them to the degree. It's like they're not wasted. I think I'm just going to go and ponce around down at the bank, for example. This is going back a year now, and find myself throwing 2 policemen in the air in the police station. Wearing the robes. So beware the robes is all I can say. Once you put them on and you say you are ministering universal law, you better do it.
Well, I can just imagine going down Tesco's with them on, but you know, and just spraying people, and it would be quite a scene, actually.
Are you going to do it? I think you're going to do it. I think you're going to do it this week.
Well, we'll see about
next
that.
week then, because it's Sunday.
Tomorrow.
So you had some more questions, you said, yeah?
Yeah. So I'm just going to throw this out there, okay? It's a little bit personal, but hopefully it'll be beneficial for everybody else as well, not just myself. So my situation, I stopped working a little while ago. They wanted me to take 2 of these tests per week. I wasn't going to do that. So I haven't been working for quite some time. I get those things which they say are a benefit, but they're not a benefit. But that's the only reason I'm feeding myself, actually, because if I didn't have them slave tokens right now, this property is useless. I can't grow food here. And, you know, this is a little bit philosophical because it's kind of a mind thing. It hasn't exactly happened yet. But if you play out this scenario, you know, where we're headed with this whole, because it's nothing, I think everybody knows it's nothing to do with the virus. You know, it's something else that's going on, whichever conclusion people have come to. You know, if we end up in a situation where to get them slave tokens, you have to jump through, you know, a lot of hoops that are going to completely compromise your health. That's my kind of interest right now. So coming back to the land scenario there, you answered that question already. It's actually changed my thought process on that actually already, because originally I was looking for, I have this map of unregistered land. And I was thinking, okay, well, if I can find a piece there that's not been registered, then I can just go and stick a fence around it. I can just, you know, make that mine.
Claim it. No, that's the big problem. That's a claim. You
Right.
cannot make a claim. So like what we've done down there, it's a restoration of rights. You are caretaking, you are restoring your rights of use, and you are restoring your obligation to protect the land and use it right. So if I put a fence around it and claim it, I'm laying claim, I'm making a claim, I'm back in the system. I've breached my immediately. I'm creating what people would fear as a fear of loss. And the system that feeds on the fear of loss, be able to point the finger like they did with us at Hillston and say, look, these people are squatting on your building and they're costing us money and they're costing the taxpayer and all of these things. Because we know how the system works and that it's actually the periousia, the equity, that is standing surety to us at all time, and universal law that created the equity that stands surety to us at all time. When you go and you exercise your rights, we've had people going, no, it's a squat. Actually, it's not. It's you're living in it. Well, define living. Well, you're not paying any rent. I'm actually putting more energy into restoring that building that you've allowed as a community to fall down in the last 25 years, 30 years. Why haven't you done it? Well, we used to use it for camping down there. Well, we'll come this year and use it. That's what I'm doing it for. We want you to come down there. We want you to exercise your right of use of it. And we want you to kick to the curb the belief that you've got, that you think that you need somebody's permission to do what's right.
Yeah. So, I mean, so it comes back to this, this mindset of you've got to own it, or you've got to, so really it's as simple as you're just using that land for a purpose, and that's the end of it.
I'm not taking it anywhere, and I'm not stopping anybody else from using it. If they want to come and go, what is this piece of land for? It was created by the creator to support the community from. That's what I'm doing with it. These people said it was for camping. Okay, come and camp. I'm camping down there. I've got a little fire down there. There's no electricity. It's absolutely wonderful. Talk about being unplugged. You can't live this duplicity, this I'm unplugged from the matrix, but I'm over here and I'm paying for their Wi-Fi, I'm paying for all of those things. That's back into Platanos Cave, like we were talking about in the beginning. This me coming back and saying, come on guys, there needs to be a trail now, which is what you've all been doing out. Everybody knows where the exit is now. It's all been given to them. Now we have to get out of the way of blocking the exit by thinking that we need other people to do this, and you just go and do it yourself. So that there's 9 of you down there. We'd have had 9 people doing what we were doing at any one time in our community. It would have just been, atomic, viral across the whole country. But we've had, one person and another, and then going over here and showing these people, and people coming and getting involved, and then going back to their own community and setting it up there themselves to whatever degree that people use it for. But I think you asked the question about on Facebook about how do we know about the 5 hours? How who validates the 5 hours? We do. The results. When we say, the government's going to dissolve itself and we're all going to disappear because Bonavacanta, hang on a minute. It's all hypotheses. You can never be a dead thing walking. You can never be collateral. You can never belong to another state. They want you to believe that so that you create the reality of that which they want you to believe, because they can't, that thing, that non-creational part of us, the opposite of what creation is, you can't do that thing that creation can do. But in order, it has to be there. it's to keep the creational part of ourselves in alignment with, use the creational capacity that we've got, use that right of use, right?
I think it's really important because, you know, wherever you look, you can't get away from the fact that the whole of society is, you know, for example, there, I went for a little walk off the beaten track around the cliffs. And after a certain while, there was a terrible, terrible, terrible smell. It took me a little while to work out what it was, but it was actually the chemicals, the silage, the crap running off. There was a field just above, and it's just filtering down through this, and it is absolutely awful. You know, I thought, Jesus, you wouldn't want to be eating your food. You know, that's on your food, whatever it is. So yeah.
It sounds like it needs a community protection order from Justice Stein. I hope she can recognise him. Or go and speak to them. It's do we walk away? That there's what's that? The further you take my rights away and all of that. And when you look the other way, don't look the other way anymore. Like you said, it's as far as you can see. So as far as I can see in this vibration of this creation of what I've imagined for myself to see, I can't see any further. Is really the opposite of what that statement is that you've just said there. And so run it back in reverse. So what you're saying to yourself is this, the furthest I can see is this. Now you need to have a chat with yourself. Now you need to say, right, if this is, let's go with the if, because you know, we're presuming, we're so good at presuming. Let's presume together a different if. If it is me that is presuming reality into appearing real, and this is as far as I can see. Every time I turn my head, there's a reminder of this belief mechanism that I'm crediting. What is it that I need to do? What is the change that needs to take place? It's not external, it's here inside me. I need to project backward rainbows and sponges on a beach, whatever it is that you want to see, to prove to yourself that you are creating this. I'd like reminders. So here you are having a lovely walk and you're thinking, this is great. What's going on in your mind? Is it going on that even if I walk down here, I can't get away from the stinking so-and-so's? No matter where I go, whichever way I turn, there's a big pile of shit waiting for me. What was going through your head? Because you manifested a big pile of shit.
Yeah.
That's a wake-up call. These are things that you as a universal creator create in order for you to be able to, right now I know I'm lucid dreaming. I'm thinking about big piles of shit in my life, and here is one. You know, we just, that's the turning of the other cheek. Look at it and go, right, okay, address that big pile of shit. Why is it keep manifesting in my life? Why is this terrible smell following me around? What is it that I keep thinking? I keep thinking that my life's shit. Okay, well, there's a great big reminder of your higher self saying to you, are you fed up of creating big piles of shit in your life? Really? Oh, well, yes, I am. So now we're at this level now. Here's the door of Platanos Cave now in my mind. I'm now responsible for the big piles of shit in my life. Okay, what do I have to do so that I don't see big piles of shit if it is me that is creating them with my thoughts? I'll think about something else. And what you'll find is the thought that creates big piles of shit in your life is the predominant thought. And when we've had so many people going, no, she's so confrontational, you're confronting yourself. You're confronting that unconscious part of yourself, that the other bit of you forgot, that needs to kick up the ass now and again, to say, hang on a minute, if you're at the steering wheel of this creation, or you're the director of this, I've sacked you because your storyline's crap. And I'm going to recreate, I'm going to start to write my own script. And so what is it that I want to see? I want to see communities living environmentally healthy, happy, self-sustaining experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. That is actually exactly what I don't just want to keep seeing big piles of shit. It would be nice to see that in
But it's not, it would be nice to see that. It is nice to see that. It is nice to see that. And then go another step further. I love it when I see that.
Yeah.
And so the universe responds with the love. So feel that feeling of that feeling that what you have when you love to see something, or you see someone that you love, or it was, whatever it is that gets that emotion, because it is that is the power of creation, that love force feeling. So bring that to the fore, shut the pile of shit thought up with it. And that is where the battle line really is drawn. And the pain that you're going to go through physically as you split this shell, if you like, is undefinable. Because what I found myself is that however compounded it is, the resentment, the anger, I got myself into such a position where I was like, right, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to do that, and they didn't do this, and they did, and I suddenly thought my alpha and omega state had to hit me with such excruciating, debilitating pain that I had to go and run away from myself, and park myself in a position where I'm actually having a chat with myself and saying, okay, I'm actually I'm creating this thing while I'm standing here saying, it doesn't exist. It's administration and system, it doesn't exist. And here I am now writing the next bit of it. For what reason? Because somebody else might need a piece of paper to say that one of their agents in that system finally recognized something that we said. We can never we can only get them to write what they've written, which is we can't recognize you. Okay, cool. That's it. And that, when I think about that, right, the universal injunction, because I was bringing myself back to that, have I got the universal injunction sorted out for them yet? Is it there? And I was questioning it. Do you know what I was doing? I was doubting my trust in universal law, and the pain for doing that was like, I would rather have 10 babies, really, without any gas or air out of my ear. Because it was all of I haven't really got anything to talk about, I have to say, anymore after this Zoom, because I'm going to be doing, I've spent a year now and a bit talking and not done as much doing as really needed to. Well, I'd like to have seen happen. But I know that it's now going to come very quickly, because I couldn't go and sit like I did for the last 2 days 5.5 years ago. I had to get off the beach. I was given this opportunity to see, when I said I want to see self-sustaining communities, the universe brought me to Ikaria. And there's nowhere more as an exemplification of all of this that I've been banging on about 5 hours, supporting a community using a bartering system and exchange mechanism as a career. But I couldn't stay there on the beach, because all the time there was something that I hadn't done, I thought. And it was, and what I thought I hadn't done was help as many people as I could with knowing as much of this information as possible. That was it. That was my debt. And that's what got me off the beach. Now, or for the very first time in 5.5 years ever really in my life, I've just been able to enjoy sitting and not doing anything, not even thinking anything, counting the tiny little rocks on the beach, not even counting them. Just and it's that is what this gives you. This is the ministering of your mind. It's not a, oh, I went and arrested a load of place and isn't that great? Yeah, what you did is you arrested that egotistical part of the presuming part of ourselves that was giving our rights away, or saying, it's not me that's doing this thing to you, it's them. It's not. And we don't want to, as the way that we've been conditioned. It was that is the injunction. And when you remove that injunction, that the part that says that there is a government that is responsible for you and can give you a benefit from immediately you're at the injunction of yourself. You've been put an injunction on your creational capacity, of your freedoms, your rights. As you can see, this is all truth, because it's all around us. We can see what it is that we create just by looking around our family, environment, our immediate environment, and then as a community, and then as a global community, and then take it up a scale. Go and have a look universally. If we were a frequency, which we are, in a universal frequency, like a bandwidth of fiber optic cabling, is it one that you would want to pick up and look at, or does it give you great pain to see? So you don't have to look at that. You can send that away. You can change it. You can change the picture. You can pick up another one. It's you that changes your frequency, your belief, your mindset. I believe that everybody will use kindness credits one way or another. They will either be forced into using it, and it's universal credit, or you will pick it up and apply this to your lives voluntarily. And that is parallel. You will always be a compromised soul and not a conscious creator, or you won't. That's it. You are either secured party creditor to your own shit show, or you're the unsecured party creditor of somebody else's shit show. And then, okay, if I'm the creditor one way or the other of the shit show, now I'd like to see another show, please. I'd like to tune in to another channel, and that is what I'm going to see. And it doesn't matter what how many piles of shit I'm going to see along my way. Every time I see a pile of shit now, I'm going to say, do you know what? That's a reminder from the universe. What was I thinking? What was I just thinking? What was I thinking into being? Was I creating from a fear-based frequency of loss? And I just want to speak about this when I was doing the gamma. The gamma kicks in when you feel your heartfelt feeling thought. And the little images that I'd put inside my mind while I was doing this, as I got to the universal injunction part, I had to question once more, was the universal injunction in place, and was the universal law being upheld? So I'm going to just uphold it with all of this unconditional love in this gamma state. And it went off in this massive kind of arch, and it's full of big blue. And I felt like I died. I felt like a piece of me had disappeared. And I thought, oh my God, my heart is broken. And immediately the other part of myself just went, an idiot. It's unconditional love. You feel it go, but you always know it's coming. And I was filled with even more than I had before. So yes, it wasn't a feeling of loss. It was a feeling of something that had left me only to be returned with even more power than it ever had before. So that's why I can sit on the beach now. Not really that I've done much sitting on the beach in the last 2 days. Been sitting on a massive crystal rock that we found and doing some meditation on that. And then just completely, we're nearly ready for opening, which we thought we were still a few weeks off. We're not. And the blackboard's going out there. The camera's charged up, ready to take some video footage, because really that's now the restoration of rights in my community here needs to see this. And so what I am going to see is you guys videoing yourselves using the material that you've already got. And if you want to appeal to them because you think that you've got something that you want them to say something that you haven't heard or you can't see or deciphered or determine for yourselves yet, then you go and do it. Because this where I am now, I've got to get out of the doorway of Platanos Cave, and you've got to go and the exit. So I'm making the next steps now. So you've all seen the videos and things like that. You haven't seen it in reality in your own shop. So what I'm going to dedicate my time to now is the steps. Once you're out of Platanos Cave, what are we doing now? Now we're opening the shops. Now we're all going to the ports. Now we're all exemplifying ourselves and using the material that we've got to rebut the presumption that anything can be used as grounds to incarcerate a minister of their own energy and matter movement, whatever number you've got. So any help that I can be with anybody setting up the Kanenas credits facility and all of that, the ordering of the food and all of the hypotheses of the administrative system and the jurisdiction that we thought it had got over us, that's gone. And now that's why I've invited you in here, because I don't think that you have got that amount of tarnish, let's say, of compounding. You're like, you've got your head out the door of the cave and they're like, hello, what's it like? So, you know, it's a little bit dark at the moment because we've been too busy in the dark side. And now we need to light the light again so that you can all see that little beacon of light that was being sent out and emanating from Icaria. Now you're gonna feel it now instead of so much of seeing it, and then you're going to be able to replicate that in your own communities, because we're all at that level now where it's really weird. I know when you're going to call me, one of you, or I know there's going to be an email from one of you. We have made a connection when we talked about meeting of the minds, the restoration of rights, and I said, come on, universe, send me the people who are going to make this happen. And I just had to keep myself in the zone of painting rocks, let's say, where was my neutral point, to get out of my own way, to resonate, to and it hasn't been many of you have had this short, sharp, swift boof. Me and 1 to 8, you know, but we was quite a stumbling block to begin with both of us. I'm sure you agree, 1 to 8, wasn't there?
Yeah. Well, I have to say, mine today was the first time, like, listen to everything you just said there. I actually caught myself asking myself something I don't think I've ever asked myself. And I asked myself, if I wanted to live my life exactly how I want to live it, how would that look? And the answers, even asking that question, was quite unusual. And the answers that then came from it, I've never really thought like that before in my life. And it was quite liberating. There's still a lot of, you know, I still got a lot of questions here, and you know, not all of this stuff is really going to be answered. I think it's, you know,
what did you do there? Look what you did. I've got a lot of questions here, and I don't think they're all going to be answered. These I teach Gamma. That's what I'm going to give my 5 hours in Gamma training. Not so much paperwork and the administrative system and civil code and debt. That's all gone. And so the 5 hours that I'm giving to my community now are going to be Gamma webinar training. We run programs. We have in our minds, and we have set phrases that compound, they cause limiting beliefs. So I'm going to smash your limiting beliefs to the curb now. All of your answers are already, all of your questions are already answered, and you know all of the answers to any question that you already have, but you just forgot. And so treat me as your sounding board now. It doesn't matter what it is that you have to ask. This is a forum and a platform for being able to, it's full disclosure. So however much it is of yourself you want to disclose, then it's down to you to determine. So hit me with your next question and keep going.
Yeah, okay. The next thing I wanted to ask was, so now I have my warranty cards, I've done the steps, so I have a responsibility. I am Minister Emaven, and of course I have to, let's call it divorce from the system, with all of the ways that I'm joined into that system. And is there a potential that I would get caught up in something, and because I'm just guessing here because I haven't got the experience.
I stop you there. What you're doing is you're projecting already into creation, something that we've just talked about. That if you do that, you will create your own experience of it being exactly as it is. You're going to finish this sentence off with. Is there an opportunity of you being caught up in happiness, well-being, security, surrounded by a community of people who vibrate to the same frequency as you, supporting one another freely? Yes, there is. You're going to get caught up in that a lot. Are you going to know what to do in the circumstances that you don't want to be caught up in? Yes, I'm going to know exactly what to do, because I'm putting my trust in universal law, and that is all I ever needed to do. That's why it's so simple. It's not a great complicated matter. And when you talk about getting caught up in things, it's no longer being caught up. You've picked up Minister Emaven and you have said, right, okay, I'm ready to go and see what I can get caught up in to exemplify myself, that everything I know is true. I can do this, right? I can do this. I can do this. Am I causing any harm, loss, or damage? No. Well, I can do that then. And along come, and now I know that my creation of that scenario has brought forth the Agent Smith, if you like, to come to help me test my resolve. Am I going to? Have I got Minister Emaven nailed in universal law? Have I got all my trust assigned into that or not? Let's see how far I go. Oh shit! No, because probably they're going to lock me up now. I know I'm the legal fiction. I'll see you tomorrow. I'll come back and have another go. Come back and have another go. So, however, what there is something to be caught up in is the mind fuck, if you like. It's not the getting caught up in it. It's well, I am here to exemplify myself in a particular set of circumstances. I've been doing it like this all my life, and now I'm going to do it like this, and I'm going to see what happens. And then who have I put my trust in? I haven't put it in her or him or what somebody else told me on a webinar. To put it in myself. Am I putting my trust in my own comprehension of my own state of mind, and am I irrevocable in that standing, no matter what? Yes. 9 years, 9 months, 10 years, a million lifetimes. If it's taken us a million lifetimes to get to this point, and think it has. If you turn around and you say, bloody hell, I've been doing all of this for as long as I can remember. And so I don't know how long it is. Let's say it's a million lifetimes. Do I now want to take this faceless idiot's belief over mine and not after a million lifetimes of practice, and I've got to this point and I'm going, oh God, no, I can't do it. I'm not Minister of Men, really, I'm in legal fiction. I'm just going to say, look, this is what I believe to be true. I believe that if I use something that doesn't belong to me, I believe it is fraud and theft. If I'm wrong and it's lawful, then I'll do it. But first, the proof, the burden of the proof is on the claimant. I am claiming I'm Minister of Men. Can you prove it? There you go. What do you consider now? We're in the realms of validating proof. Now we're out of fiction or into fiction in the way that you comprehend that everything that you believe is real is fiction, because it comes from your belief, and it is that little nugget of treasure that they have been after, or that you have been giving away. Never mind your rights to your water and all of that. It is my belief that is the real value in this treasury chest. And I've taken it away, and I don't even know what it is yet, but I'm keeping it to myself first of all, and I'm going to get to know my soul. I'm going to say, okay, soul, I'm really sorry that I've been doing these things to you all these years, and no wonder I feel like shit. No wonder my life looks big piles of shit. And I know that if I do that thing, this is what it gets me. So I'm not going to do that thing. I'm going to try something else now, and I'm going to bring my soul to the fore, and I'm going to say, I'm going to define myself by my soul, not by my man-made definition that I've been programmed with. And I'm going to say, hey, soul, do you want to speak? The hypothetical administrative systems agents want to speak to you. Cannot, can you? Can't speak to my soul. Even Justice Stein said she can't recognize it because it's a soul. And you cannot recognize a soul in a dead entity system, can you? So why do I keep trying to put my soul in there? And I'm very sorry, soul, that I've been doing these terrible things to you, and I've been assigning you into this dead, diminishing myself, my soul, into this terrible state of being. So, you know, what am I doing now? I'm accepting the liabilities that I created for my soul. I'm very sorry, soul. Do you accept? And I want to settle the liabilities. How do I do that? I get out of my own way, and I put my soul in front, and I say, hey, soul, I'm just going to run all of this definition by you. I'm going to use you. I'm going to been utilizing my soul. Everybody's been utilizing my soul except me, it turns out. I get hold of my soul and say, come on, that I'm going to put you at the forefront instead of somewhere indefinable, insignificant. I'm going to put all of that thing that I thought was significant into this insignificant spot, and I am going to exchange that debt and bring I'm peacefully surrendering my collateral. What is my collateral? My soul. Who am I surrendering it to? Universal law. And I'm saying, all right, that's my barometer, that's my guide. Does my soul, does this fit okay with my soul? No. And what you're doing when you allow your soul to speak, and I don't mean in any particular language, I mean speak from the energy that it emits when you are standing in your alpha and omega state, in gamma, whatever frequency or the definable thing that you are, and you start to express that to another. Do you know what you do? You open the door to their soul. And so even though they don't like what you're doing because of their beliefs, they can't argue with you because you're actually speaking to you're communicating with their soul. So all of that gloss, all of that stuff, you know, just doesn't exist. So instead of asking questions about, because these are not questions you're doing, you're giving me instances of what you've already projected as there could be a problem. It's not a question. It's not what happens if I do that.
Well, let me formulate that as a question. Because
No, let me
I-
tell
I
you
get-
another. No, well, the formulation of a question comes from your exemplification. So I want you to come back and say, "Hey, you! I did this and this happened. What should I have done? Or what would you have done? Or I did this and this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and oh my God, I'm here in paradise." That's why the questions about the process is unique for every single one, because you will project that. But the best gift or advice that I can give you is don't project anything from a position where you haven't practiced it yet. Now, if it's about benefits, okay, if this is it, no, find your sticking block. Is it my benefits? Is it my tendency? Is it where I'm going to get my food from? Write a list. These are my hesitations. These are the things that I need to iron out. And you will be given then all of the opportunity to be able to work these answers out for yourself. Because otherwise, well, it is a cult, isn't it? It's me sitting here saying, this will happen, that will happen. It's not my job to project what is going on in your life, and it's not your job or your obligation or your growth or self-determination if you are asking somebody else what's going to happen if. And so a lot of people don't like that, because they've always been taught that if you do this, this will happen. Hang on a minute. If I do this, this will happen. Says who? Do you know what? You're right. If I do that, that will happen now, because if I accept and buy into your belief. So I'm just going to create myself in a universal injunction there. I'm going to put that projection over there, and I'm going to just say, okay, here's my space now, speaking to my soul. Shall we just go and see what will happen? And then we'll know for sure. And that's what these guys did. This is why, and we never do that. What is it we never do? If we don't do it, we don't put our trust in universal law. We don't put our trust in ourselves. And what stemmed this off was a replica, really, of one rather wonderful Emma Venn and her sidekick Emma Venn going and just saying, right, okay, well, we have put our trust in this, and we believe that we have got the right to do this. And hey, presto, here we are. And there's the keys on the table.
Not sure he'd be pleased to be called a sidekick, but there you go.
Say again.
I'm not sure he'd be pleased to be called a sidekick.
I've been learning some new dialogue as well. My other counterpart, Emma Venn. What do we call her? An Emma Venn. It's so difficult. But this is what my story is that me and my crazy sidekick. That's and what you've got is a replica of crazy sidekick. We'll let him define himself whenever he's ready, and rather not define himself. It just took two people to go and say, do you know what? We're going to do this. I'm going to see what happens. And that's it. And I've been screaming for 5.5 years. Just one in England. Come on, just one.
We didn't know what we were doing either. We just did it.
And that was why it worked like it did, because it was so beautiful. And that's why the keys are waiting for you on the table, because you put your trust in universal law.
What did you do?
Well, what did she do? She restored her rights. That's what she did. And she set a precedence for people like you to be able to pick up the paperwork that say that you can't recognise Minister Emma Venn, and it can't be used in litigation. It's not understood as a legal entity, and coronavirus is misconceived, and not able to be used grounds to incarcerate you all with. That's her part, and she blazed a trail for you all through Platanos Cave is what she did, if we want to define it, and then some. All of the people that you in this room with did. So, and I mean, I said, what did you do, guys? Like you just said there, 1369. She didn't know which I should have said, I didn't know what I was doing, just did it. Did any of us know what we were doing anyway? We were like, I know what I'm doing. Here's my legal
Yeah.
fiction.
That's the best bit. That's the best part about it, though. It's just having faith that you'll be all right. I mean, I've done some crazy things in my life, like with the racing, dispatch riding, but I always had the faith in my own ability that I'd be all right.
Yeah.
You've just got to have trust in yourself.
Mhm.
There was no health and safety course with the racing. You learn by getting it wrong, and it hurt when you got it wrong, but it teaches you to learn quick. You know, the same with the sea fishing. You can't make mistakes out there. So by putting yourself in the situation, it's amazing how quickly the brain speeds up when it needs to, when stress happens, or you know, you have to work quick. Your brain will work it out how to do it.
It's your higher self steps in, because you've set you like that. If you were so scared that you, oh God, I'm not going to go and get on a bike in case I fall off, in case I do this, and I'm never going to get on a bike, am I? And like you said about, you know, it's going to give you experiences where it is going to hurt when you fall off your bike, and it's the same with this minister in your mind. It is going to hurt when you fall off your bike, when you allow your mind to compound all that is giving you pain, for example. What are you doing to yourself? You're an idiot. What if you're creating everything that you walk around the corner is a big pile of shit waiting for you? Just grab over yourself, you know, I'm an idiot. Now, Emma Van Fisherman there, he just, if we can just bring you back in a minute.
Yeah.
You started off from the same standpoint, didn't you, with what you would call benefits normally?
Yeah, but then got such a good understanding that it was my benefit anyway, and you know, through the release of the instrument, it's a benefit to me, so I'm not worried. You know, I mean, if they turn up, or if I get the brown envelope and it's been cut, then so be it. You know, it'll be right. Well, I have actually severed that. I'm not getting any help, but I know that the universe will provide one way or another. It always has for me. I'm still here, you know, walking.
That's what I wanted to get to. That even though my biggest fear and my biggest doubt is still having some kind of narrative in my mind, still did it anyway. Because if we'd all got all of our doubts squared away in our minds, we wouldn't have to do anything, would we?
Yeah, that's right.
So it's and you know, when fishermen needed some help, we've got his community to go to, didn't you?
Yeah. I went and got my food, got my baccy. You know, that day was something special to walk out or to start the day with no food, no tobacco, which were the two things that I needed. And then at the end of the day, had both, and had spoken to some other souls in the meantime, because I'd got the energy from the food. It was just so surreal how that day unfolded. And that was because I unquestionably put my faith in what I was doing.
And it stood surety to you.
Yeah.
And we need to go back and help that shop.
Yes.
So make a date this week. These are the things that I would do, you know, I'll dedicate my time to these things. These are the restoring of the rights of the people in your community now. And it's so important because there's another exemplification waiting for you behind that door. It's like another wow, oh my God, we didn't know that it was going to go that way. You open the door to the universe and saying, hey, universe, there's a world of possibilities that I haven't imagined yet. I'm opening the door and I'll see what's inside the treasury chest today.
Mm-hmm.
What would you like to do today? Well, I'll open this door and I'll see what's behind it. Mr. Ben.
It'll be good to go back and see them, because their stock will be so much fuller this time of year anyway. So
we need to go back for their benefit now, and we need to introduce this next step as a supplier in, because you are, that is your new role. I see you as the minister down there for the organic food produce. All of you are. All of you can do this. All of you can go to a supplier or a distributor and introduce kindness credits to them. I just want to bring MFM 128 back in because it dropped out a minute ago. You did an exchange, didn't you? And paid somebody with kindness credits.
Yes.
Well, it was actually a couple of us that did it together. We were in a shop, and it was Minister 1483 who suggested the idea. And so we went away and looked for a rock, couldn't find a rock, just got a piece of a little bit of a wood bark and used that as the rock instead. And we went through the the whole exchange, the kindness credits exchange, and and it seemed to go pretty well at that time. Then we did the same thing again at a pizza. We went for a pizza in another place, and we did the same thing there. Maybe the others can chime in and say their bit about it as well.
No, I need you to. So when you went in and you said, "Hi, I'm going to pay you with rock. I'm going to pay you with kindness credits." What was it? What did you say?
Actually, it was Emma that suggested it, and so I thought that was a brilliant idea. And the fact that we were all together at that point, we kind of bounced it off of each other and thought, yeah, this is an excellent. That particular shop, we'd actually gone in there earlier that day and had a chat with the shopkeeper, and they looked like they were, they were open to the suggestion. And so when we went back with the rest of the crew, they were very welcoming and very open to the idea of us demonstrating it to them. And so we just demonstrated the kindness credit exchange to them. It was actually 1799 was looking around the shop for things to buy for his kids. And it worked out to be a perfect example. Here's somebody that actually wants to buy a product or was looking for a product. And we could actually use that as the example to demonstrate the kindness credit. And so that's what we did. And 1799 walked away with about 2.2 kindness credits worth of goods.
Right. And so you've given the shop a no at that point. It's just pure kindness credits you've given him.
Yeah, we gave them their kindness credits, and we told them to list all their debts and liabilities, and we would get in touch with, or whenever they were ready, they could get in touch with us, and we would go through the discharging of the debts and liabilities.
And we've got the details. You've got the details of the shop and everything who to speak to.
That's right. Yes.
Brilliant, guys. That's all it takes. It's if somebody's not at that point, they're standing there looking at you and saying, "You're trying to pull a fast one on me and give me this rock and take my stuff," then at that point, okay, look, let me show you, and you would do the slave token exchange. So one thing that just stood out at me there, first of all, 128, is that the first time that you and not having a rock in your pocket. You have who's not got a rock in their pocket?
I usually do carry it around in my backpack because I've got holes in my pocket, so I can't really carry too many things in my pocket.
I'm going to send you one. I knew there was a reason why I'm finding these rocks with little holes in. And I'm going to send you all one. Yeah. I'm going to make a note of that.
I went into the shop and said the essential things that a Minister MFN has to have in their handbag. Well, they'd be female anyway. It's like a stamp, an ink pad, a promissory note, and now it's a rock to add to that.
We need man bags now as well. So.
I'm going to send you these. I'm going to send you these rocks with holes in. You can wear them around your neck.
Oh,
you can just give them.
Good idea.
Yeah, brilliant.
Okay, but there's nothing quite like making your own. Go out there, there's something in it. I don't know what, but when you actually pick up a rock and you paint a bit of white paint on it, or put your thumbprint on it, or draw one kindness credit on it, and you give it, there's something happens to
Source
you.
energy.
Hey, it's
It's
so.
that source
Yeah.
energy, isn't it? It's your creation.
That's why they've got you using their tokens. These
Yeah.
tokens matter. What is the token representing your energy? Is it slavery or is it kindness?
Yeah.
And that's why, you know, I've been screaming at everybody, yeah, got rock in your pocket. I was not, this time last year, I'd kicked you off the Zoom room if you didn't have a rock. If you listen to some of the Zooms at the beginning, go right, that's it, off you go. Because it's like, people say to me, how do you do these things? Okay, I'll say it again. I go and give somebody a rock. Has anybody given me a rock? That was the first time I've done it. But when you do it, it's like, there's going to be a lot of firsts in our lives. But the first time you convert your energy into a different currency, you took control of it. And it's that, you doing that. And when you're using the rock, you're saying, I know that the rock has been backing those slave tokens, and I've taken that rock back, and I've put my own stamp on it and said that belongs to universal law. It belongs to back to gear, to earth. And I'm not capitalizing on I'm not capitalizing on my rights. I'm not capitalizing on your rights. I'm not compounding slavery. I'm keeping it clean. And so now for 2.2 kindness credits, so 20 slave tokens, right? Is that right? I worked out right?
18.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much. It was a trick there. So for 18 slave tokens worth of kindness credits, the individual who you've given that to can now discharge all of their liabilities, not just for once, but for the rest of their lives. Now, if kindness credits doesn't work, it's you that's not working it. It's not that it doesn't work. It's a mechanism. And you've seen it. What is the mechanism? It's an exchange. What am I exchanging? I'm either exchanging this or I'm exchanging that. Do I want to compound any more of my slavery or not? The change is you. And so when I change my change in my pocket for a rock, I'm saying something to my soul is singing. And so then you're giving that, and it doesn't matter what you're saying is, it doesn't matter what you think about me to the party who's facing you. I am, instead of me taking convenience over love, I love you so much, don't even know you, but I love you unconditionally, and I'm going to take the time out of my day to explain what I know about that to you. But I can't do it if I don't give it to you. So what is it? Hopefully it's the door open in your mind. Hopefully it's this conversation that we're now going to have that we would never have had if I didn't do that. That's what you're doing. And that's kindness credits, that I am kind enough to bother to care where your energy goes. Mine, I've got it covered. At my end here, I'm covered because I'm changing it anyway. But when it gets to the point, I can either take a little bit of time and love and care and consideration for how you're doing today and how are you faring up in this Platanos Cave, and here's a little key out, is all. That's what that is.
I've got a little bit of help I might need.
Have you?
Yeah, I have. My Volvo was towed on Thursday night by the local church. They took it on a section 165, no insurance. So I phoned the station, was going to arrange to go at the weekend to produce documents, and they said, the police station's shut over the weekend. So you can't even go and sort your thing out. Meanwhile, charges are rising at the yard where it's stored, of course. So all very good timing. Take it on a Thursday night. Then you've got to try and get somewhere on the Friday to produce documents at their place when they've took your car. You know,
Anybody
so
would call that a conspiracy, but hey,
it is conspiracy. Yeah, it's terrible.
it's only a conspiracy if it's not happening.
So my plan is to go tomorrow. Dom's going to give me a lift and take my warranty card and the insurance document, and ideally what I need is an exemplification roll because I've never had one for that.
Right. Do you want to? Do you know when we had the van? I gave you all the papers together. We did it. We did it when we were. I remember doing yours.
Okay, I
but
never.
It's on the old hard drive because that's how long ago it was.
I know. Yeah.
How many years now have you had that?
2 years plus, I think.
For the people who say that this doesn't
2018.
work.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, all right, how much money have I saved in 2 years?
Yeah,
how much
in a
have
bit.
I not credited the system? And after 2 years, they've decided, right, okay, because obviously, you know, you've used the conveyance to go and play a very prolific part.
Yeah, of course.
in what's going on. So, you know, don't be surprised.
I got flagged.
Well, you saw what happened to me. Your first hand. This is Emma Venn who claimed me as, what did you claim me as?
I claimed you as cargo. Yeah, cargo from our
out
ship.
of the prison, cargo from the ship of the universal law.
Universal law.
And that was it. And
Yeah.
I was evicted.
Told them that you jumped ship from Crown Corporation into Universal Law.
And that was it. And then they tried to deport me and they couldn't. So if you work out what you've saved from crediting this system in 2 years.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's just I've just done everything to it to get it up to IT standard.
We have to do this. We have to go because everybody.
I want it back.
Of course, we want it back, and like we did with the van. You know, it was like, well, we can't charge you for tax because it's. I said, well, who do
private use? Yeah,
who do I pay my tax to?
Well, yeah, we're banned from actually using conveyances for commerce anyway within the trust unless we pay for it ourselves, aren't we?
Well, how can I ever be in commerce when I've got a rock in my pocket?
Yeah, true.
This is why they're screaming at people. The rock is the one that sets you free. If I have to pay my tax, show me the contracts and I'll pay you in my locally accepted currency. So even if I have got a tax liability to you, which I can't have if my conveyance isn't registered to be yours so that I rent it back. This, you know, so many people have been given this opportunity. For example, Karen Hamlin, who had not done her assignment of consent of her VIN number correctly, listened to other people and left it as recorded, registered, not exported, and then told everybody that it didn't work. Even at that point, we were still going to go and exemplify the fact that even if it is in that particular state of exercising right of use, then there's this process that we can do. But it is this process. But if you're not prepared to do it, no, I just want you to go and buy me another car. Well, that's not kindness credits, is it? That's not what you want me to go and magic up 4 or 5 grand for you to go and have a car. I'll go speak to a garage, go and see him about kindness credits and do an exchange. And didn't want to do that. And so just pick a car off the shelf. And obviously, the guy who I'm speaking to at the garage, he's like, well, you just want to get any car. Immediately, the validity of the exchange is diminished because normally I would come and I'd say, well, I like the look of that one, I'll test drive that one, and I'm just going to ring up and say, oh, hello, this is kindness credits and we'd just like any car that you've got and I'm going to pay with a rock. Do you know? So at that
if I can get back to it quickly.
Well, we are getting back to it. That's what I'm
Sorry,
saying.
sorry, love.
So there is the steps that we need to go. So thank you for bringing this, because
You're
the
welcome.
next step has not been done properly yet from a standpoint where you're at, which is where it's been exported. It hasn't got any jurisdiction. It has been properly.
Yeah, it was registered to the trust, but English address, so it wasn't properly exported at the time, and I wasn't aware that that had to be done. It's what I'd done on a previous vehicle, and they couldn't do me over it because I'd exported it when they took it away. They like taking my cars.
Well, tell me that bit again. When you exported it, they took it away.
Yeah, I'd been driving that one for 2 years, a Saab.
Yeah. Oh, so that's 4 years that you've had.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, the thing that happened was originally I was being evicted from my flat, and I drove a little bit too fast twice through a really local camera that I know is there doing like 35 or 36, and I ended up with 3 or 4 like tickets to provide driver, and I just asked him for all the definitions and said, I can't do a contract unless you reveal the terms and conditions, and if you don't know the meaning of the words, how can I respond to you? And ended up in court putting the judge on notice, which meant he kept the fine really low, gave me 12 points and only a £260 fine, when usually it's 660 for each one, and then asked me any reason why I shouldn't ban you on 12 points, and I said, yeah, I'll die. And he said, why? And I just said, well, I won't be able to work, you ruin my business, I live in the middle of nowhere, I won't be able to earn money, I'll die. It's that simple. And I just stuck to it, and so he didn't ban me. This was before I was in the trust. Anyway, so all I wanted to ask was, right, I'm going to go to the station tomorrow. I've been looking for the receipt for the car when I bought it, which I know I've got somewhere, but I haven't been able to locate it. I've got the insurance document and warranty card, which I think is good enough because it's registered to us anyway, so it proves it's owned by us. But if I have any problem,
if it's on the V5 document, if it's registered to ULC, is it registered to ULC or to MV?
Yeah, ULCT Halifax, yeah.
Right, so it's not Minister MV?
No, we never put a driver on it.
No, so there's 2 legal entities that you can use, and neither of them are recognisable. Well,
Right.
loads, you can just make one up yourself. and even if
Well,
you make one up yourself and they want to use it, they'll give it a date of birth and try and rape it, and it's empty anyway. So you've scuppered their shit, guys.
Well,
I might have a copy of that. Did you send me a copy of the receipt?
I don't know that I did.
I'll
That
have a
would have
look
been
back
a
through
while
the
ago. Maybe.
yeah.
But
So-
mainly I wanted to ask if you can be back up on phone, because I'll take the insurance document and the warranty card, and if they say, well, you know, where's your confirmation of ownership, I'll say, can you call the treasurer? You know, that's where
I'll
the
just
files
send you a copy. I'll just send you a copy of the bill of exchange, that's all, from the trust.
Okay,
That's all.
all right then.
For that, it's hilarious. It's proof of ownership. Ha ha ha. It's not proof of ownership. I've got the right of use. You've got the right of use of the.
Exactly.
You've got the right of use of it because you've got the keys.
Yes, exactly.
Who's got the keys now?
I've got the keys.
Right. Okay.
They took it where it was parked, so they, you know,
And
it's got a tow bar, so they were probably able to do it without damaging it.
It's parked in the church.
It was parked next to the church. I thought it was a private drive, but turns out it's probably public highway. Because the social housing here decided it was an abandoned vehicle and put a notice on it and said, because it had no MOT and tax, that it was an abandoned vehicle, and that if I didn't move it within 7 days, then it might lead to further action, to prevent further action, which may result in removing and destroying the vehicle. Right, they're buggers, the social housing. They just
Has it got
take
anyway?
people's property.
They can stick that. It's a road safety certificate. Did you have a road safety certificate on it instead of an MOT?
I'm self-certifying because I'm the mechanic,
All right, okay.
so I can write one.
Well, it needs one.
Yeah, I've completely done it.
Right, so if you've got that, so your checklist is you've got your indemnity,
Yeah.
warranty card,
Yeah.
and you need your exemplification certificate.
Yeah.
That replaces the V5 document for people who don't know, and your road safety check, which replaces the MOT.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, they're not asking about that at the moment. When I phoned up, she said just bring your insurance, but I will take that anyway. I'll put one.
right. Well, I just take it anyway. You need this in your packs for people, so
Yeah.
just to rebut the presumption.
Well, the other thing I was going to do was phone a local garage and book an MOT.
No, you can't. They can't give you an MOT for a vehicle that's not registered to DVLA.
Okay. Right.
What has it got a ULCT plate on it?
No, it hasn't. That's because I haven't been able to track down the V5.
Oh, so it's not.
Oh, God. No, it's still on.
Right, guys. Okay,
commercial
so we're just going to retract all of that. Really, we shouldn't have recorded that. That's not what you do.
I know. Well, I was saying to you about getting the plate on, wasn't I? But it's tracking down what happened to the document to get it exported, to get it sent off as exported properly. And then
Have
I
you not
could
got a
put the plate
V5
on.
for it?
No, I haven't, because it went to Halifax originally, wasn't it?
Oh,
They
right,
were being
okay.
kept up there. She sent me a copy of it at one point, but it was a bit blurry and I can't find that either.
Right, okay. So you can get a copy of your V5 document for people for the record. You just contact them and say, I need a copy of the V5 for this particular commercial plated incriminating thing.
I know.
I should smash you with them. Are you committing commerce? Got Minister of Event
No, I wasn't.
015.
No. It's only implied.
But I didn't have a rock in his pocket.
It's a presumption. Of course I wasn't doing commerce.
Mr. Busy, next time you see 015, ask him, prove you're not in commerce, show me what's in your pocket. Have you got slave tokens in your pocket? If you've got slave tokens in your pocket, it doesn't matter what else you tell me, is in commerce. Now, is that enough reason, people, to have your rock in your pocket as a receipt that you're never in commerce? So it doesn't even matter if my number plates look like this, or if I've been misidentified as legal fiction, I've got a rock in my pocket, and that means that I'm not in commerce, whatever else it is. This is my locally accepted tender, and it means that I'm in the private. So you want to fix a charge with me? My name is Minister M, not recognisable to you. Here you go. And even if I was, how many of these do you want? That's it. That's so this is a little bit more, it is, you just need your insurance. And unfortunately, because I've got commercial plates on there, your indemnity is not going to cover you.
Is that right?
Yeah, your indemnity only covers you if you're not in commerce.
Yeah, well, it's only a presumed commerce on the plate, isn't it?
You told the judge that if you would die, that if he banned you because you wouldn't be able to work. It's not the right answer. If you want to say that I'm not in commerce.
I came in here, yeah, for sure. But it stopped him banning me anyway.
Yeah, because he thought, oh, how much tax will I get out of that if he carries on working like a slave?
Yeah. What that then happened was the cost of insurance went for me from about 300 quid a year to 3,000, which is why I didn't get insured again.
Right. Okay. So how much is the car worth?
£1,000 at least.
Right. Okay. So let's is it worth me going and getting insured that's going to cost me £3,000 to get a car back that's worth £1,000 when I've already had 2 years right of use out of it, even though I've been fannying around with my number plates on, and now I'm over here wondering, should I go and get the incriminating thing back?
Yeah.
With
Well,
my
I did
lovely
start the process
husband.
with Karen, and it came to nothing in the end. So I
Well,
supplied her the bits and pieces, and she said the documents were ready, but obviously I didn't want to put the plates on if the steps weren't taken
oh
properly.
my love, and so many things ended up in that dead end cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry about that, but let's have a chat and decide what to do. There is another conveyance available that Karen has been exercising the right of use of while telling everybody that this doesn't work, by the way, and that's coming back into the trust. So let's weigh up the energy that's going to go into this. Ideally, the at this point, what I was getting to for those people, had it had ULCT plates on it, the steps would have been to go and produce the document at the same time, serve a terrorist ticket, go and wheel clamp one of their cars depends where you're going. If they're acting as an agent of the police and telling you to produce at the holding depot where they've got your car, then you're going to wheel clamp one of their cars, and it's a debt equity swap. So you give me back my conveyance and I will give you back yours. But why have you clamped my car? Because you haven't got ULCT plates on it. Where is your indemnity? You can't do this, you see, if you have got commercial plates. You can't get to this step.
Sure.
So yes, it's like, oh my God, I'm going to go and put ULCT plates on and they're going to stop me. Damn right, they're going to stop me. I want you to stop me. I want you to stop me. I want you to take my car, and I want to come and I want to wheel clamp yours, and I'm going to see you in the court. I'm going to see you stand there, Mr. Policeman, and tell him that the thing that you are doing, Mr. Policeman, is illegal because I just did it back to you. That is the point all the time. Where are we driving ourselves to? Where are we conveying this? We're conveying it to a point where our presumption of authority, jurisdiction, and legal and lawful is, what's the word? Confronted. Just went blank for a minute there. I'm thinking of you driving around with bloody number plates on. I can't feel my teeth. No, I didn't know. I thought we were going to get to the point where we can go and wheel clamp.
There must be other conveyances that have ULCT plates on that have done this, are they not?
They've not done it. Karen's was one, but she wouldn't do it. She called me and said, no, I want you to go and get me a new car. I said, because these are the steps that you need to take. You have to go and do, this is what we said, that you have to expect, blazing a trail through the hypothesis here. Is it likely that I'm going to get arrested? Damn right it is. Is it likely I'm going to go to prison? More than likely. Is it likely they're going to steal my car? Absolutely they are. But have I got the ability to be able to do what is required? And have I got the ability to be able to self-determine, is it a benefit? Have I shown 10,000, 20,000 people a ULCT plate in the time that I've been driving around in circulation with it? Have I got a story to explain and exemplify that this is what happened, and then I did this, and then I did this, and then this happened? No, not if I turn around and go, oh, they stole my car and I want you to pay me to get a new one. Not even go and pay the fine to get it out. Wait until it's crushed and then turn around and say, well, I don't want to go and do that wheel clamp thing and need to go and buy me a new car. Oh, come on. Who do you think I am? Your mother. Don't even do that for my own children. They have to go and get it themselves. They want me to go and well, I'll just take 4 grams of oil, shall I? Oregano oil or other kinds of oil. And I'll give you that instead. So now you've got a car and you've got the oil and you're going around telling people that this doesn't work. And then when I've said anything about it, then I'll send messages to people saying we're very upset with her. Well, we're very upset with you. And anybody who does do those things, they really are incapacitated because they don't realize what it is that you're messing with your soul there. You're denying the truth about your soul. You're denying the truth about what you know, and you're denying the limit that you went to. And you talk past your point of exemplification and you said, yes, do this, do this, do this. Well, you're not doing any of it. This is why we finished it with Dijon. because he's gone and he's telling people to add to the administration of this in all sorts of different ways, and causing liabilities in the end. So people are now coming back to me saying, oh, we've got this problem now. Why is that bill still in that name? 12 months later, oh, well, because Dijon told me, somebody else told me. If you don't know what it is that you should be doing, then don't do it. There's so much footage and videos and webinars out there that explains why. Why do I need to separate the legal fiction from the equity? Because by me granting the equity to the legal fiction, it's not mine anymore. Step one. What do I need to do about my supply? Is it your supply? Yes, it is. Who are you? Well, if I say I'm a legal fiction, then I'm not I have not got the right of use of that without behind a corporation. Why? Because I assigned my share of that electricity to the government. The government assigned it to one of their private corporations, and now dingbat me is paying for it again. When I should be really turning around and saying, oh, you, I should be locking them up. I should be going on en masse. All them people that were in London, they should have been going to the houses of these people and arresting them. You are responsible. You are the narrator. You are the director of the private corporation that has been unlawful, using misconceived claims of COVID to incarcerate people with. Is that not big enough for you yet, guys? Go. Oh, no, I don't mean you guys, because you've gone. I mean the guys that are listening to this when it goes out on YouTube. These people are unlawfully incarcerating you and capitalizing upon your rights, and you have now got it from their horse's mouth that what it is inconceivable, misconceived. The burden of proof is too great for it to be ever proven to be true, is what she said. Now that, coupled with all of the other parts of all of this that we've been giving out, these steps, unless they are executed, the same hypothesis of maybe baby fiction didn't make it real. And so when we get to this point here by following some of these steps, if you don't, like you said there, didn't feel confident about doing the ULCT plate because I didn't have the piece of paper, then I can make one. You can make any of this yourselves. You don't have to call it a cult. You can spell it however you like. You can go and make your own warranty card, make your own trust, make your own. You're not assigning something to me or to Universal Law Community Trust as an entity. When I say that I am a creditor of Universal Law Community Trust, it means that I trust myself. It means that I've got all of my assets in my hand. It means that I'm unalienable and I'm unrecognizable from an administrative system of fiction. How are you today? How's your fiction debt slave life working out for you? Is it conveniently convenient because you're driving around with number plates on because you didn't feel confident enough about asking the question? First of all, Universal Law Community Trust is secure party creditors of Her Majesty's government, right? Right. In their system, that's right.
Right.
Right. What am I doing, even considering working in their system to retrieve a piece of my, something that I've got the right of use of? I'm going to smash it down. Then I'm going to turn it on its head. Where are your papers for your car? I'm Minister Emma Venn, People's Protection Patrol. I'm here commissioned by and credited by the people of the community who have assigned their consent to Universal Law Community Trust. I'm under warrant to uphold the law. Your number plates imply that you are supporting terrorism. What do you mean? Well, you've got DVLA plates. Do you know who DVLA is? Oh, yeah, the driving vehicle license agency. Who are who? Who are they? Well, the government. And who are they? Well, you don't know. Did you not know that under the Anti-Terrorism Act, even in the administrative system that you're crediting with your number plates, you are incriminating yourself because you don't know who it is that you're paying and you haven't got a contract, so you don't know who they are, so they could be terrorists. You can go to prison for that. So I'm just here to give you notice with a terrorist ticket that you've got however many days it is that you decide to give them, to go and redeem your soul with your number plates over there, 7:30 Saturday night. And if you don't, we're going to tow it, we're going to put wheel clamp on it. Next time I see it, I'll put a wheel clamp on it. It's going to go into our system that you've been given a ticket and that you've been given an offer of settlement, and then you will then be arrested because you are now knowingly supporting a system of criminals and terrorism in your community. That is where this needs to go. And so, okay, what does it look like? Let's imagine that. I go along, I go and pick my car up, and the guy who knows, well, I don't accept them piece of paper. The police said that it's not acceptable. I've got to be this and this and this, and you haven't got that and that and that. So you're not having your car back. Oh, okay, I'm making you an offer of settlement. Can you just explain to me in a language that I understand or comprehend that if I do not perform an obligation that I haven't got, which is forced commercial intercourse, then you will not release the right of use back to me of the piece of property that is recorded with my trust. Is that what you just said to me? Yes. Do you know that that is extortion of money by menace? Do you know that it's aiding and abetting criminal act? Do you know that by you implying that I need to use a legal fiction or credit a legal fiction by assigning all of my rights to it and buy them back as privilege? Do you know what that is? Statutory rape. You are aiding and abetting the statutory rape of me and my rights. Do you know what that is? That's against the Constitution. And so that's why now I'm going to arrest you. Oh, I'm calling the police. Okay, call the police. Okay, police walk through the door. What's going on here? I've arrested him because of this, 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 and this. What at that point, the police have got to choose, which is what they did at Hillston. They had to choose, and that's why the man who made the claim against Emma Venn and said that they had assaulted him or resisted arrest couldn't even come and show his face. He was on holiday. If I've got a claim to make, even in the mindset of an incapacitated illegal minor, and I'm a police officer, and somebody has undermined my jurisdictional authority, I'm there. I want to see you go down, you, how dare you question my authority? How dare you? Well, actually, you're a criminal. And I'll question you all day long. And that's why you wouldn't come in for questioning. You wouldn't come to the court. And so his absence was his admission of guilt. Just like they would say, if you didn't go to the court, it must be because you're guilty. Here I am, I've laid a claim against you and I can't even come and face you and say, yeah, it was you, you did that to me and I'm a policeman and you broke the law. We can't do that because I'm a policy enforcer and I am unlawful.
What were the words from his own mouth? Please don't do this to me just before the arrest. He knew, didn't he? He knew that he was there, like acting unlawfully.
Yeah, please don't do this to me.
Yeah.
Look, hang on a minute. Please don't do this to me. Please don't do this to yourself, first of all. I'm doing this to you to help you redeem your soul because you're so far gone there that you need me to come off the beach, come and change my number plates and come and say to you, right, arrest me because I haven't got anything better to do. And okay, do you know what? When I think about your soul, you're right. I haven't got anything better to do. That's why I'm here. So I'm here to do this with you because you and me need to do this together for you to relieve your incapacitated mind. And because you think now, oh my God, I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to do this. You're going to put me in the court and I'm going to do that. I don't want you to do that. Here's a card. And when we get through this together, I want you to come and discharge all of the liabilities of the reasons why you think you need to do this shitty job and call it law. because it's not. And nobody is accepting this anymore. So this is the step that we need to get to. So I need somebody. So police, if you're listening, have a look out for a ULCT plate, would you please? And arrest them, all right? And then I can go through the process to exemplify what it does, what it is when we do restoration of rights at this level of conveyance, because we've missed a big step and gone straight in with COVID. So if we can accommodate us with that, that would be very nice, thank you. And we can then show you what it looks like when you stand there and say, that thing that you do is not legal. That thing that you do is breaking the law. Do you know what? You're right. I shouldn't be able to come and wheel clamp his car and tell him that he has to have a particular kind of number plate on there, should I? I shouldn't be able to do that. What kind of crazy system is that? What kind of psychotic state is it when we turn around and we persecute one another for having one bit of plastic or another on our car? Isn't that psychotic? Isn't that illegal? Isn't that, more importantly, isn't it unlawful? And because I am preventing a crime from being enacted by facilitating and creating this scenario that you would never have got if I'd have just gone and paid my tax and paid my convenience and paid my terrorists, the terrorism of myself to go away and leave me alone because I don't want to recognize myself today. I don't want to recognize myself as unrecognizable. I don't want to see any part of myself. I want to cover it up, I want to gloss it over, and I want to pay somebody to make it all go away. Or have a drink, or take some drugs, or whatever it is that I need to blot out the truth about the facts about this fiction. Is what? I don't know what I am. I don't know what I am, and I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm looking at all of the other people who don't know what they are, they don't know what they're doing, and I'm saying, the fucking hell are you doing? If we all don't know what it is that we're doing, why are we picking that? Why are we paying and complete terrorist systems to compound to terrorize us more? Why don't we all just turn around tomorrow and say, you know what, I don't know how it is that I've been crediting this system, but it starts, if I don't use that name, what happens next? I'm going to see. And then you'll see the restoration of rights being restored in your community, because the people are going, do you know what, I did this, I turned around to a figment of my imagination the other day and I said, I've clamped your car. And they arrested me. And then I went to court and they said, who are you? I said, Minister of Environment, and they kicked me out. I have to say 28 days, the worst case scenario. But because I stuck to it and I didn't compromise my soul, is the story now I've got to share, that these people in here have got to share. The minute that I compromised my soul, that was it, I'm back in. Because I didn't compromise my soul, I found this indefinable thing at the end of it. Where, I mean, 1 to 8, how do you feel now? I know you, when we'd said about on the, how do you feel free? I should have reworded that, really. Do you feel free while you're still incarcerated in the corporate state known as UK? But even at that, I've been going over all of this. You're not. You're Minister of Environment, of course you're not incarcerated.
Well, I like you said, I think it is just a state of mind, isn't it? If you believe that you are incarcerated, you are. And if you believe that you're the legal fiction, you are the legal fiction. And it's having that recognition and operating from that point of view.
Do you feel more free than you did?
Absolutely. I mean, it is more liberating to know that we are creating the scenarios ourselves, and it is more empowering to know that by stepping out of that, by stopping, the example I used this afternoon when I was talking to the people was that of a Monopoly game, how do you win at Monopoly? And the answer to that is, in a nutshell, you can't win at Monopoly because the banker always wins. So why do you play that game? So by stopping playing that game and creating a new game, you know, you then are the author of your reality. And I think that's what's happening with using the Ministerium event fiction. You're taking that token off of the Monopoly board and saying it isn't on that board anymore. But here's another one that you might be able to recognize, just, you know, so that we can step in there to tell you we're not playing that game anymore. And I think that's the liberating part of this, for me anyway. I don't know if that makes any sense to any of the others, but
it makes sense to me. Is and only I think when you've done that, and you have to go to prison to realize your definition of freedom. Do we have to? That's the question. And do we really have to go and put ourselves in prison, physical prison, so that our minds have got a real definition of what prison is, of what enslavement is, of what and most importantly, of what freedom is?
Well,
So,
I think one way or another, we are in prison. It's either a mental prison or a physical prison, but it's recognizing that the physical prison is just a temporary state of affairs, if you like, until you can smash that whole notion of that system having any validity in the first place.
you can scale it up as well. It's your prison mind. It's your, we've got this, if you imagine that we're alpha and omega, and we're projecting ourselves into 3D like a prism hologram to examine ourselves. What do I look like in these 3 bandwidths? We're out of there already. You're in 5 dimensions. Just use the Fibonacci frequency, the ratio, and you know, the place that you go to in your mind, and then project something. So you know, okay, they've taken what was called liberty from me. Well, my definition of liberty, their liberty, was slavery, presumption, and now here I am feeling more free, because I'm looking at the people who think that they're free, who are the prison guards and the people on the outside of these bars. And I know that the majority of them have never experienced that sense of freedom that I've got sitting on the other side of these bars. And so, because I didn't give my rights away, that's where your freedom is. It's not the further you take my rights away, it's the more that I give them away. Is the more that I've got to sit there and say, somebody's took my rights away, you need to give them back to me. I'm the one playing the game. I'm the one giving them away. I'm saying, I'm blaming somebody else and saying they've stolen them. And then I'm saying, oh, come on, let me get them back, please, by investing loads of my energy into a system of make-believe that doesn't really exist unless I want it to. And so it exists as long as that is. I keep giving it CPR. The minute we cut that off, the minute that we say, right, okay, of course I'm going to see remnants of this system that I've just severed the contract with to create. I'm going to see remnants of it. But don't forget, they're just remnants of my psychotic state. And it reminds us of, do you like it over there? Have you got yourself, are you at that level yet? Or do you need a little bit more practice? And that's all it is. So we're just giving ourselves opportunities to practice. Are the things I believe true? That's it. And so the irony is that that's the things that you believe appear to be true. So when you start down then on that wheel of going, okay, so if what I believe appears to be true, and nothing therefore is really true, what's my definition of true? Whoa, You're out in another place now. You're in a place where the truth hasn't been defined for you yet. You're now, what you're saying there about writing your own script, then this is where I'm at now. So instead of living or investing or crediting somebody else's story, it's time to self-determine our own and write our own. You know, starting off at whatever step it is, and going and actually practicing this instead of us talking about something that was written that we've all been enacting. We're going to sit down now and go, right, okay, I'm going to write scripts and I'm going to put in the, you know, who it is that I want to play, which role I'm going to play, who do I want to bring into this manifestation of this projection of a universal picture presents, and it looks like this instead, with Kanenas credits as the credits, as the title credits. So has anybody else got any other questions that they want to share on here? And if you don't want to share them on here, stop recording.
I wanted to ask the difference between a rock and a promissory note, because I thought they were the same thing.
It's your promissory note, it's a bill of exchange, so it acts as a receipt at that point. So if you give somebody a rock, the reason why the rock's used obviously is because the rock is what is standing surety to the stock exchange, the resources, the commodities and all of that. And the bill of exchange acts as a receipt at that point.
Yeah.
So if I'm giving somebody a rock and they say I don't accept rocks, then I'm taking the rock back and I'm giving them the slave tokens without the tax. And to cover them, I'm then writing the Kanenas credit note, and it will act then as a receipt, as a bill of exchange, to say that this transaction, one bag of shopping, or this item, this item, this item, came to 10 rocks. So that goes into the business's till, and so he can then decide whether he declares that transaction to his accountant as Kanenas credits or as a slave token exchange. Either way, there's no tax to pay. You don't pay a tax on a money exchange. Now, if I take the Kanenas credit note and I give it something like that, then you say to them, next time I come and see you, keep the note, write on the back of the note, or I'll bring you in a Kanenas credit claim form. If you're going to use that as a receipt, then I'll bring you a Kanenas credit claim form or another note. And you can write, or you can go on the website and you can simply send over all of your, oh, did you hear that? It's my rock on the floor. Okay, do a Kanenas credit, or you can go online and put all of the bills, liabilities, charges and everything like that your business has got, sign it over. And then when I come in next week, whatever's in my shopping basket is an exchange. That value of that shopping that you think is 10 Kanenas credits now, 80 quid, is really worth, how much do you pay each month? 2,000. It's worth 2,000 slave tokens every month if I can come in here once a week. What have you just done there? Just cut the need for the tit of the Babylonian whore, and you've just given yourself your own ability to sustain yourself, and you've just cut out any kind of need from any government. You've just done a direct exchange with somebody. I'm going to swap my knowledge and comprehension for you, your knowledge and comprehension about where that organic food comes from.
Yeah.
Have you got any more questions?
A question about the terrorist ticket that was issued to Paul Ryan. What are the next steps?
Arrest him.
Okay, and arrest him at his
So
place.
we need to hold it. You need to organise a court hearing. So we need to go through these. When you've issued the terrorist ticket, however many days it is that you've given them, then
I think it's 28 days.
is it already
Isn't it 28 days on the terrorist
It's
ticket
28
itself?
days. Ticket, yeah.
Okay, so he's got 28 days after. What happens? You know what to do because you've already been living it. What happens to you if you get a ticket and you don't pay it in 28 days?
You get a summons.
Okay. So you get a summons to go to the Ministry of Remedy hearing on Zoom. And what happens if you fail to attend?
You get issued with an arrest warrant.
Yeah, and then what happens?
Somebody goes and arrests you.
And then what happens?
You get put in. You get given an option of whether you want to pay the fine or whatever.
Here we are at the Ministry of Remedy. We're not going to ask you to pay the fine, are we? We're going to get what we're going to say now. We're going to say, would you like to redeem your soul? Or would you like to go to one of our rehabilitation centres? It's just the same. You're doing just the same. All you did is you got organised. That's it. That's all they did. They got organised. They pointed to a building over there and said, right, that's the police station, that's the town hall, that's the bank. And everyone went, all right then. So this is
what's the remedy that's on offer is to discharge their debts and liabilities so that they don't continue to commit fraud. Is that the remedy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
It's kindness still, isn't it? Even in that level of stress, MFN is still showing them the kind way out, how we always should have been.
That's why we had to stop have to stop you there, because you're going to incriminate yourself further. And then when she carried on and what she said, I was like, right, okay, well, good, because you didn't. You said exactly the things that you could only say. And what she did is she gave you in a beautiful way. She covered her ass, and she covered what needed to be written in order for you to be able to use it. And so she did her job, and she redeemed herself.
I think there's a few questions. People are unclear about what that order still means. Maybe you could clarify exactly what that order.
No, I can answer your questions, but it's up to you to determine what that order means. I can tell you what it means to me, but that's all.
Okay, I think I understand what the order is, and I tried to convey that to other people, but I think other people were still unclear on how they were reading that order. They're interpreting it slightly differently to the way I think.
And that's why they'll never use it, will they?
Right.
That's it. It's how you interpret it. If without knowing what it is that they said, and am I really interested in somebody else's interpretation of something? No, I'm really not. The way that is, it tells you that a habeas corpus is not required, because nobody who even knows that we can't recognize is unlawfully incarcerated due to COVID. They cannot be unlawfully incarcerated due to COVID, because COVID used as a cause or grounds, is it misconceived? She's put that
in writing.
What does that say to you?
That means it's all a load of nonsense.
Well, I don't know what else it can say. I've got absolutely no idea what other way it can be conceived as. And any other misconceived definition of that is going to be the standpoint of somebody else's deeds that they execute or not. I got the Kakodikia and it says dismissed on it. Of course it's dismissed. You can't hit me with it. If you could have hit me with it, I've been doing 5.5 years. If they could have hit you with it, you would be doing 7. If they could have hit 1191 with it, it's 7 years. £80 fine to Minister Event.
And even that was under even that was under duress, the £80.
That's not you didn't get that. It was 1191 who accepted that, and so what we've got now is two.
No, that's what I'm saying is 1191 only accepted that under duress.
So it doesn't, duress doesn't come into it anymore. That's it. You accept it or you don't. You say, right, okay, I'm Minister of Event. I assaulted the policeman. I've just admitted as a policeman, and I've got to pay £80 fine for admitting that. And why I've only got to pay £80 fine, because that is the only little bit of credit left of my equity, of my merit in your belief system, that I got this far. I knew as Minister of Event. I knew that I'm not good. I knew that much. When it got to the point there, it cost me £80. My belief cost £80. My value of my belief that you weren't able to launder was far greater, because when I look at how much money I could have made out of you if you had used the legal fiction and you had admitted that you'd assaulted a police officer, I would have been able to launder your equity for 7 years inside Serco. So for me, it's not about the habeas corpus and the piece of paper. It's the fact that you didn't need one, that you'd already been released before it actually got to be heard. And the irony is, she's sitting there saying that this cannot be heard, and they're hearing it. So I don't know who it is that you're referring to when you're saying about them misinterpreting it. But if it's that bunch of lunatics who, take the information and don't act on any of it and then decide and determine it for others, then I'm not surprised that that's any other determination that they would come up with. But the bottom line is that there were 9 individuals who arrested and evicted armed policy enforcers from a building that was restored its rights to using a debt equity swap, and you should have all been prosecuted for that. Why weren't you? So whether it took 28 days or whether it took, what it didn't take was 7 years to get you out.
Because the law was being upheld by him then.
Because they were breaking the law. It's not,
yeah.
It's not, the law is the law. It's always been upheld. It's what we're created over. It's what we're created in. It's there whether we uphold it or not. But to accept an administrative system adding to the administration of it is down to that individual or not. And so if I've gone and I've laid my hands upon a police officer, then, the only reason why we haven't all done it already is because we all believe that they are upholding the law, or that we're going to go to prison. Is it not enough exemplification for you? Can you big guys out there and you women who think that you've got all the answers and you can exemplify your rights, and I'll go to prison for my kids and I'll do time for my children, go and do it. Go and do 28 days for your children and your community and your rights, is what that piece of paper says. So has anybody else got any questions?
Just to let you know, I did go to the terrorist cell that had popped up.
Did you? Good.
And I had a good chat with the landlady as it goes. Informed her who I was, what I'd been doing with the trust and what the trust especially had been doing. And she said to me that she's got a meeting tomorrow with her local councillor, like about COVID. And I said, well, look, I want to be there. And she said, I'm glad you said that, because I'd want you to be there as well, from what you've just told me. This was on Friday, I got to see her. So on Friday, I took my laptop and I'd paused the hearing to where you started with your submissions to the to Justice Stein, and so I was going to get round to plan of that. So I'm going to take that with me tomorrow, as well as the court order, and just talk to the councillor and just say to her, game's up. You haven't got any authority in this matter, and you're harming our local community in even issuing these guidelines about something that, you know, COVID can't be used in litigation. So how can you?
COVID can't, right, get a pen.
Yeah.
Or you can just play this video to her, this Zoom, because it explains it a few times. I've said this now. That what she's put there is that COVID is misconceived.
COVID is, yeah,
as grounds to lay claim for lawful incarceration, is what it says. The video talks about the Gwent Police's, whatever he was wearing that wig, title, wiggy. That's that's the sorry, my daughter just took her headphones off. Sorry.
I mean that's why I'd had the video paused where
so he said that to prove the existence of COVID, the burden of proof is too great to ever be achieved, that it exists. Now, I don't know what bloody dictionary these people want that can't hear with their own ears and determine for themselves what they've just heard. They were backpedaling, but also giving to you the remedy. They told you that COVID cannot be used as grounds for unlawful incarceration. We didn't say who was saying COVID. We just put COVID in the defendants. But we were saying it was their agents that were saying that. They didn't say that. They didn't say, and it is inconceivable that our agents are saying that something's COVID and it's not, and people are being unlawfully incarcerated for it. They didn't put that, did they? No. Did they put that? Anybody who's read it, does it say that? No, it does not say that.
No, it doesn't say that.
Right. So anybody reading into any of this in a way that is not supporting the ability to be able to rebut the presumption, then shut up, sit down, take your vaccine and stop wasting our time, because this is a universal remedy for all of the useless energies, parasitical mindsets, don't forget. And you have you have to go to the insignificant part of the oblivion where you belong, because that's what you're doing. And really what we're really looking at is ourselves destroying that part of ourselves, that parasitical, useless, unconscious part of ourselves. And it looks like that, unfortunately. Now, talking about strange things happening, the girl I bumped into yesterday, just completely random, stopped the van, got out, let the dog go, and two girls walking towards me, and they both looked so un-Greek. They asked if they could stroke the dog, and I said, yeah, it doesn't bite. And she asked me where I was from, and she saw the van, and she's Greek, and studying in Newcastle. In the end, after a conversation with her, she's studying biology, and she'd had to have 2 COVID tests before she left Greece, 2 as she goes back to England, 1 when she's in England to come back, and only in England is it where they're taking the DNA away. So you're sending the DNA off for being tested. I just said, oh, who's got your DNA now? She just looked at me and she was like, oh God, I never thought of that. She said with the ones that we did here in Ellenis, in the Hellenic Republic, we tested it, you test it there, self-test, test it, DNA's there. Whatever happens to that, where do you put it in the bin next? I didn't get to that bit with them because it's more important talking about what was inside the vaccine. And so she said, we talked about what we were doing at the restoration, about the rocks, talked about the exchange. And I said, because when the lights go off, what are you going to do? And they turn them back on and say, only the light's going to come on only if you've got a chip in your hand. What are you going to do? She said, where's the chip going to come from? I said, you fight the vaccine. She just said, oh my God, I'm having that next week. And now you've had that conversation with me. I can't thank you. She came over and said, I can't thank you enough for stopping. I said, well, you never know. You never, ever give an opportunity away just because, you know, well, I can't be asked. But, you know, somebody has asked me a question that I don't particularly know the answer to, or I'm out of my league or whatever. I give you what I've got. What is it? It's an exchange of what? Of my love and kindness. You know that every single individual throughout this country is being unlawfully incarcerated by COVID, don't you? You don't need a piece of paper to say it's not. What you needed was a piece of paper to say that it is inconceivable and that it cannot be proven as grounds to unlawfully incarcerate you. That is what you've got. You take that there and say, you unlawfully incarcerating me because of COVID. There you go. People have said to me, how can we use this piece of paper? Really? Like that? You unlawfully incarcerating these people in this hotel? Yeah, here you go. And they go to prison. Get them out. I want to go to the port. We've got people saying, how can we use these Minister of Event cards going on? You've now got a piece of paper from their system that says that the reason why you're asking me to do the thing you were asking me to do, first of all, not obliged to perform because I'm Minister of Event. And even if I was using legal fiction and you try to imply that I had some obligation of performance because I just used it, you still can't incarcerate me using COVID as an excuse. That's how that is. I couldn't believe it when I read it. So anybody else wants to read it in another way and do whatever it is, interpret it in another way, wow, good luck to you. I know what a universal injunction looks like because I know that it was my mind that I was really the only one that needed to use a universal injunction on creating and manifesting negative interpretations of things that then created negative interpretations of what appear to be things. So anybody who is misinterpreting that needs a Ministry Mind book, and I've got them on special offer. They're free. So you know, we have to get them in. We have to get these people in to some kind of meeting. I know that you talked about a common law court as well, wanting to do a meeting. I'm not going to do what happened before here, which is where we had 1.3 million people's ears, and I ended up being channeled and funneled and herded into the management team who kept all the information in the end, and we had to go physically door to door to door. I'm not doing that again. I'm not going to have this information filtered, vetted, misinterpreted. That's why we're doing these recordings, so that everybody gets it from the horse's mouth. And so if they want to do it, they bring all of their community, or they can send all of their community to this webinar and let all of the people listen to all of that stuff. And then anybody out of the community who's interested, then we'll do one. But I am not doing a select group any longer, which is why I wanted to start to introduce these people in. We have done what it was that we have divided. We've divided our community by doing these webinars that are only some people get invited to. Yes, it was quite laborious having to go all the way back to the beginning of the first step when we were at restoration of rights. But all of that material is out there now. Anybody who's coming on to these Zooms now have to, obviously you've done all of those steps, got to the point where we're talking about restoration of rights, not talking about what do I do with my bank statement, or, you know, even the steps about my house. All of that is out there. What you do next, even how to assign my credit as a business and then dissolve it, is out there as well. How to do your white title, your CR1 document, how you can just print off the sample documents and do it yourself. Don't even need to put your information in there. So there's the Platanos Cave door has been blocked by us thinking that we need to keep coming back and doing these steps with you. It's not, we need to be doing these other steps now, so that by the time the other people get to the point where they're ready to do the steps, it's something for them to step into, because these other people are not the people who are going to create the standing. They're just going to be the people that come and stand on it. But the problem is that there's nowhere for you to stand unless you've created your standing, and that's why those first 10 steps are so important to do. And like you just found in this webinar, that's even when we get to the point where we think, right, okay, we've got a complete step-by-step exemplification to be able to do and exemplify it to the, what happens next. Even at that point, even some of the most experienced events, listen to her third part here say, I'm not, it got the message is self-determination. If I haven't got a document, I'll bloody well make one. If I need a live-born record, I'll make one. And so, like you just said, 015, you're self-certifying. You are, what you're doing when you do that is you are saying, I take all of the responsibility of any liabilities that come from the deed that I just executed. That's what you're doing. While you're looking over your shoulder going, I need a piece of paper from you, I need this from you, I need that from you, I need you to explain this to me one more time. No, you need to go now and determine this for yourselves, and you will only do that if the door, the exit door, isn't being blocked by somebody standing there saying, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. It was just the exemplification role that would have been handy to match up against the insurance, but now you've told me.
Look, it's on your exemplification role is on your warranty card.
Well, that's what I thought, yeah.
So if I need to make, if I've got a warranty card and I need some number plates, what's my ULCT plate going to say? It's going to say ULCT 015.
Exactly, yeah.
What do I need to do? Well, I need to write a document that says that this document certifies the assignment of the right of use of VIN number, blah, 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 into trust, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
You can put under non-disclosure there. Make and model, colour,
yeah,
and now known as ULCT 015.
Okay.
All right, so but I'm not gonna leave you. I'm not gonna leave you with cargo inside there. Sink that ship. No, I'm get you out first and then sink the ship. So we'll sort that out. Send me an email over with the make and model of it on there, and
I did that. That's the email I sent you when it happened.
I know I need. I just ping it over to me again, so it's in the front
Forward it again. Okay.
box now. It's just like, oh my god. So there is some admin that we need to do. We need to file 22,000,001 habeas corpuses. I'm kidding. This has been causing me great pain in my teeth, right? I 1483.
Sorry, I just said plus a few more habeas corpuses. I've got a list as long as my arm.
Tell me again, love.
And a few more habeas corpuses to go in because I've got a list longer than you can imagine.
Right, well, you crack on, my love. I'm looking for somebody who is going to take over the administrative side of this. hang on a second. Andrew. Somebody coming in here called Andrew. Which Andrew have we got? Hang on a second. I can't believe that. Just a minute. If you're going to come in, I'm really sorry. You need to go and oh, hang on. I've just put 1371. Did you just I'm just going to find out who. Can you message somebody while they're in the waiting room? Oh, yeah. Okay, we're just not. We're not accepting it. Okay, if you want to come in here, and then at least have the courtesy to have your MFM on show. So until that's sorted out, if your MFN's name's not down, you're not coming in. Now, what were you saying? That you've got a list as long as your arms for habeas corpuses? You
Yes.
must have some really long arms.
Victimless crimes.
Hmm?
Victimless crimes.
Right. So this, will you write one for me and send me over? Did you send off that tenancy agreement?
I writ up my own one after we had the conversation. I sent you a copy on email, but I'll resend you that if you want.
I don't want you to resend it to me. I want you to send it to whoever it is that you think wants to see it, because it's not me.
Okay, because they've sent the legal fiction a notice for possession now. So
Well, you better send that notice back and say that we don't. It's returned to sender, not known its address, isn't it?
Yeah. I only received it a couple of days ago, but I received a little card as well. Legal fiction received a little card as well in relation to the rewire. Do I let them in or do I not let them in?
I've already told you this. No, it's a ploy.
Okay, because I thought so, because the executive director already ordered them to cancel that because they wanted me to identify myself, and because it didn't do that, it was cancelled. But now they're offering me it, and I thought it was a bit of an act of trickery. So yeah, I'll just refuse them access.
The legal fiction cannot grant access because the legal fiction hasn't got any access to grant, has it?
Nope.
It's not recognisable. Even that legal fiction that is copyrighted by Crown Corporation. I was
going to surrender the legal fiction to the police station as well, but it's a bit defaced. Does that matter?
Listen, MFM 1483. Come on.
Okay. It's just full of red ink, so I thought I'd take it in.
You know what you did? You did so much stuff without even asking me, and now you're here going, oh, shall I do this? Shall I do this? Shall I do this? Do it. And then see what happens. And then when you've seen what happens, when you come back, and we can say, right, okay, does it matter if my legal fiction is defaced? It's defaced because it's got your mugshot on it. You defaced it.
Yeah.
You get your head in this. If you write a document and you say this and you say that, and that's what you mean by that, and you determine it like that with your own glossary, who else can then say you meant something else?
Of course.
That's why that document should have had its own glossary. And it didn't.
Which one, sorry?
All documents. Any documents.
Yeah, of course.
Or it's got you at the other end of it as Minister of them being as ambiguous as you like. There is something that happened here, but I cannot tell you what. What is that? Quiet title. Shh, QT. You know what that is, don't you? You know what the QT is, don't you?
Quiet title.
You don't tell them.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what the QT is, don't you? And you're not, I can't define what the QT is, otherwise it's not the QT anymore, is it? Shh. It's a porito. A porito is, it's just that, it's that, you know, like drop it. Do you remember that thing where what is he called? Where he drops the pen and says his name is.
Yes.
So what is a QT? It's shh. That's it. What is your non-disclosure? Shh. 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 What is the official secret? Shh. Shh. The same thing. And so this is what when Monopoly bonds just come into my head being screwed up and thrown into little pieces all over the place. Which was quite nice. So has anybody else got any more questions? About the 100 and odd habeas corpuses. So can you fill the habeas corpus out like you would?
Okay.
And let's do a template. You've got the templates there, and then
I've literally just got somebody's details this evening, who's in prison at the moment.
right.
I've got their prison number and a bit of information about them. So I'll try and fill one of them in tonight.
Okay.
At some point or tomorrow. I'll read over what was the document? I know what it is. I've got it downloaded there. You know how to write them up, fill them out.
Yeah.
And for the is it the how to claim?
You have already got a document done, haven't you? That's in the files, and go through that. It doesn't matter what it is. The party is being held for as long.
This individual is up in court on the 16th to be sentenced of next month.
Okay, so you need to get your finger out.
Yes.
That's
I
it.
do.
You do. I am
trust.
not. This is what, the whole point of train 5 people to train 5 people, train 5 people.
Yeah.
Because it's not physically possible. I'm laughing 22 million and one habeas corpuses. There's 17 million and odd people in the country. If they all pulled their fingers out and just went, you know what, I feel unlawfully incarcerated by someone, persons unknown, just file that.
Okay.
File that. Persons unknown. I don't know who it is, who is incarcerating me. It's by persons unknown. And where am I in the non-geographical state of corporate Crown Corporation, UK government limited, whatever you want to call it, a magistrate government.
Okay. Do I send the habeas corpuses to the Aparito email or to the trust?
No, it's unmeant to. I think what you're saying. Oh, you mean for me to check?
Yes.
I don't know about sending them to me to check. I think you should send them up to the administrative court in Cardiff and London and let them check it.
Okay.
And then we're not going to get misinterpreted about what is valid or what is illegal fiction or what is, get it from the horse's mouth. It's about standing on your own truth now and doing.
Can they be served via email?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying to people. You don't realize how easy it is to completely flood their system. Like, you do that. If there's 22 million of us, and do that. One of us just did that. The person's unknown. There are persons unknown at prison unknown, held by persons unknown. Get them out. For practice. Who's laying the claim? Emma Venn. Oh, shit. Here we are doing this thing now. What you've got them doing is doing this thing that we say we can't do. And we've already executed it to get them out of there because we're scared now that we're going to go to jail. We're the ones who are going to go to jail because they're going to push this now because suddenly, oh my God, they all woke up and they all went, hang on a minute, there's a difference here between legal and lawful. And non-victim crime is administrative CPR? Do I need any CPR? Okay, these people are going to be incarcerated and they're going to have used the legal fiction. What is the steps that you're going to have to do to go through? So first, I've done an assignment of consent. He's granted me the right of use of his legal fiction. So I'm going to use his legal fiction. A man or woman misidentified as legal fiction, currently incarcerated unlawfully at wherever it is. Who are the defendants? Whoever put in there.
Right, okay, yeah.
It's not my bloody job to go and find the defendants. That's your job. Who put in there? The administrative CPR, civil procedure rules, the fact that a system of administrative system, acts and statutes, legislation, commerce exists. That's what put in there. Why? Because it's for non-victim crime. That's why it's why is it unlawful? Because it's non-victim crime. Even if he's using illegal fiction, he still didn't enter into it knowingly. He's an incapacitated legal minor. And now you want to determine that whether he was a reasonable man or not. I can't be a reasonable man ever, can I? How can I ever stand there and say I'm a reasonable man, but it's my legal fiction? So the law, common law, is whether a reasonable man could comprehend it or not. I can never comprehend it because I'm never a reasonable man, because I'm always using legal fiction, because I've been conditioned to think that that's mine. So I'm never a reasonable man, so I can never comprehend or understand the law, can I? This is logic in reverse. So yeah, this is your community that are currently under siege. My community are under siege for the love of capitalism, same as yours, and fear. And so I have to go and exemplify the doing of this, like I said at the beginning. And there's still boxes to tick, there's still people to get out over there, get them in a position where they're ready to exemplify and restore their rights in every sense of the word. And the best critic of any administrative filing is them themselves. All you have to really do is make sure that you don't incriminate yourself. So you can file, to save time, you can file as a porito.
Okay.
And the legal fiction that's on the first document. If you have a look at Porito Limited's company house, you'll see the legal fiction there that there's all this rights reserve that's being utilised. And we'd love to have a precedent set. And that's why they took the first claim, which was filed by Porito, hashed it together with the other one that was filed by Universal Law, added it to the one that was filed by Minister of Event, and then stamped it with somebody else's national insurance account number on it from the first claim that they'd already said couldn't be heard, and yet it was. And discovered that Minister of Event could not be understood. Well, Minister of Event was only mentioned as the claimant at that point. And so that was the party who was being incarcerated, but the file was actually laid, the claim was actually laid by Porito Limited. And so we would love to have a piece of paper that says that a legal fiction that is registered at company's house isn't recognised. Because that's what they did with the other legal fiction that we used, which they failed to write down in the order, but you can hear it on the video, that even a Harknett Graham legal fiction, which they actually used to pay themselves to not hear the case, was also deemed as not a valid claimant, litigant. What did they do there? Destroyed their own legal fiction system. And that's what we're playing. This is the game of getting the administrative system to destroy themselves.
Yeah.
And so it's over to you guys.
Fab. I'll work on that. Definitely.
Right, I'm going to go now and have something to eat, and I'll speak to you next week. And that's
Okay,
all.
guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister.
All right, love.
Thanks.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for your time,
Thank you,
guys.
Minister.
Good night.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Lots of love, guys.
Again, and good night.
Night.
Good night,
Good
Dad.
night, everybody.
Right,
Right, guys.
Yeah, I pinged my
Thank you,
man.
Minister.
Galenigda.